Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
No, I got a whole thing saved of Michael Haney on Apple Music. He's doing.
You know, I tell you, once he got away from you, his life just blossomed.
I agree, 100%. Look at my children, the ones that leave.
Life blossomed.
They all go to fantastic colleges and they make the dean's list and whatnot. Man,
see, just getting away from their old man. Look at this,
getting in honors. Things I never did.
Yeah, I always tell my kids, watch me, learn from me, and do the opposite.
Yeah,
and you're going to be all right.
I made the dean's list one semester.
Really?
One semester.
This guy, Dean, who was he? Was he in your dorm?
Yeah, he was a guy named Dean.
Mm-hmm. He made his list. What'd you do? What'd you do to get on his list?
You don't need to know. But I made the list. Yeah, one time.
Nice. Yeah, well, congratulations.
Well, thanks. No, I think you're supposed to make it more often.
Yeah, I made the parole list when I was in school.
Sure.
But
well,
anyway.
we talked about that. You're in the Hall of Fame.
That's right. Well, when you are a Hall of Famer, I never use this saying because I can't stand it in sports, but I think I might be on the Mount Rushmore at the Baltimore County Penitentiary.
You and I are alike in that.
I hate that thing.
Well, it's gotten.
You know what it is? It's that low-hanging fruit when I got nothing to talk about and I want to just slap something together. Let's do a Mount Rushmore.
Well, I forget. The clip went viral last year, maybe from a sports station somewhere in the country. I don't remember where. You might have seen it. But and it's one of these. And I'm not dogging people in our business. You do what you do. Mm-hmm. But it was one of those shows where there's like 5 guys or something. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys said, they ought to have a Mount Rushmore of presidents. And like the other guys were all like, dude. And the guy had no idea.
That's hilarious.
He just thought it was like a term.
Mm-hmm. He had no idea
for
where
things.
it came from.
Yeah.
That there's
but at least the other guys were all like, dude.
That's hilarious. Yeah. That's actually funny.
Yeah. And he's like, what? So you could probably go find it somewhere out there.
That's great.
Anyway, a lot to get to. You know what? I'm going to say it, though. If there was a Mount Rushmore of Gamecock beat reporters.
Oh, yeah.
John Whittle's on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And John Whittle will be with us. Now, that's the last time we're going to reference that, all right?
Yeah, we
no, John will be with us coming up bottom of the hour. Good news, bad news. Good news is they're still following everything that's going on, and people are active in the search. The bad news is we have no idea who the next Gamecock coach is going to be. Nope. I think we still have an idea.
We feel like it's still Kevin Schnall, but I'll say this. I still think it is.
But
I'll say this. My percentage of, while I'm pretty sure of what I think, has gone down a little bit.
Me too, and that's one of the things I put in my show tweet today is we'll just talk with John about what may have changed, if anything, this week. Again, what may have, not what did change in terms of, but something put Scott Forbes' name back on the list. Now, if that was just Jeremiah going, you know what, dadgummit, I'm going to call Scott Forbes.
Why not, right?
He's up there. It's like 250 miles away. I may as well call him.
Just see what's up.
Just see, hey, Scott, it's Jeremiah, how you doing?
And maybe this happened. Now, again, I'm just throwing stuff against the wall because, we got 3 hours to kill. What if someone said, hey, Jeremiah, like one of his, all these ADs are buds with each other and they know this and they hear that. Jeremiah, what's up, Woodrow? Yeah, just something. I don't know if it's anything. I know you've talked about, you're looking for a baseball coach and stuff. Someone who knew me who told me that Forbes hasn't signed his extension yet in North Carolina. Yeah. Just give you a heads up. I don't know if it means anything to you.
Right. Or, it's so there's, again, I don't know what, and I don't know how big a deal it is.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
I want to throw this at you.
Please do.
All right, so Forbes agreed to this extension 10 days after Maneri was let go.
That's the word?
Agreed to.
We're not certain on exactly the degree of agreement.
Agreed. That's
so
where I'm going.
So, again, did he sign something?
That's where I'm going.
I honestly do not know. I don't know if it was, sure, that sounds great, or let's put pen to paper.
I don't know. You've heard this and I haven't, and to this day I'll never understand it. But these guys will agree to contracts, and they don't sign them for months.
Right.
They just don't because they're too busy coaching and doing whatever they do, and they're so tunnel visioned that they don't even get to, like, their agent will probably go, you got to sign your agreement. Yeah, I'll get to it, Sparky. So maybe he agreed to something in principle, or he agreed to it, and he just hasn't signed the official documentation of the extension. And that could be it, because I looked around today for a few minutes, and I can't find the terms of the extension.
Right.
Nowhere. Does that mean it hasn't been officially signed? because that's a state university.
So that's public. That's got to be public information. Sure.
So it was the agreement not been signed, just agreed upon. Now, again, we're going down that rabbit hole. Well, you agreed to it. Yeah, but I didn't sign it. And, you know, I was sitting there, Elijah and I were yipping up in my palatial office on the 19th floor. You know, I got a chocolate fountain now. But anyway,
that's nice.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Good for you.
And he said something to me that was interesting. He might have said on the show this morning. If you're Scott Forbes, and let's just say there's some legitimate smoke here, okay? I think there's something like you said. You don't just pop up for no reason. Let's say
some coaches might. He's not some coach.
No, he's not some.
He's not some coach.
He's really good. So, if you're Scott Forbes, you're sitting there in Chapel Hill, and you see that you got a new basketball coach, and obviously UNC is putting a lot of money toward being really good at basketball because that's a little bit important there in Chapel Hill. You got a football coach making $10 million. You only came there because he said you were going to put money into the football program. If you're the baseball coach, you're going, well, if they're putting a lot of money into football and they're putting a lot of money into basketball, down the road, how much money are they going to put into baseball? Now, right now, they are top 25 in operating budget, like 22nd, 20th, 18th, wherever they are. South Carolina spends about $2 million more. But if you're Scott Forbes, you're going, maybe this is worth a conversation before I put my name on a dotted line to something.
I think it is.
I'm just saying.
And that's probably, again, I want to be careful, and you do too.
Yeah, we're
But what you just said is probably what's in play here.
Yeah, because when Elijah looked at me and threw that out to me, I said, you know, I think that's a hell of a point.
It's not to say that it's simply, you know, again, Jeremiah's not going to want somebody to yank his chain.
No.
Or just use him.
Right.
Now,
exactly.
You know, and now can the other party, and this isn't about Jeremiah, this is a general statement, can the other party do their absolute best to make it look like they're not yanking your chain while yanking your chain?
Absolutely.
Sure, they probably can.
Yeah.
But I don't, you know, it's kind of like we said the other day, that won't go over well. And you know, you want to be careful with that. So I don't know, and that's why another amongst other reasons why we'll have John Whittle explain that to us as best he can. And maybe he doesn't have all of those bits of intel, despite the fact that he's amazing at what he does.
Well, my point, I guess our point, we both said this, is our boy John Whittle doesn't put something into something if he hasn't heard something that he believes there's a concrete
has
something
legitimacy to it. Absolutely.
I want to see how many times I could use something in a sentence.
I like
How'd that go?
You did great, man.
Now I should do that again.
I'm proud of you.
You would know something, not a something. Yeah, I got about 4 somethings in there, man.
Good.
Feel pretty good for me.
Speaking of North Carolina, they have just gotten their game underway against Southern California. It's just gone final in Morgantown. West Virginia has, as expected, not just beaten Cal Poly today, but they took it to them. 12-2 the final.
I saw it was pretty bad earlier. I didn't see the final yet. 12-2?
12-2.
Now, is Jeremiah Donati sitting next to Scott Forbes in the dugout?
It doesn't look like that's Jeremiah.
You sure?
It doesn't look
He put
like
a jersey on maybe just to
Bobby
hide
Valentine.
himself. But I was going to say, put on the Groucho
got the
Marx.
glasses. Yeah, no, that does not look like Jeremiah right now.
All right.
But it does make it look like North Carolina's playing Florida State. Like I'll have to remember that they're playing Southern California.
Right.
Right now, it looks exactly like a Florida State road uniform. So
you know, it does. It really does.
Yeah, same colors.
So.
But anyway, again, winners this weekend on to the Supers, which are underway. Again, game 1 just finished. West Virginia has won that one 1-0, best of 3, all of them. This is game 2 of the afternoon. Southern California at North Carolina. Tonight, Little Rock at Troy in the surprise Super Regional of the 8. And the nightcap this evening will be Mississippi at Auburn. Obviously, SEC representative going to the Omaha after that one is completed this weekend. Same for tomorrow. And again, everybody plays tomorrow. All 8 regionals will be in play tomorrow, but the other 4 that start tomorrow, 4 today, 4 tomorrow, Mississippi State at Georgia. So again, another all-SEC affair. Oklahoma will be at Kansas, Oregon at Texas, St. John's at Alabama. So tomorrow in the regionals that start, the SEC is represented in each of them. Tonight, it's only, I say, the Ole Miss Auburn one. So it's going to be look, I'm happy that a 3 or a 4, Little Rock or Troy, going to be in there. Oregon has still not been to the World Series since the 50s. Texas is going, I believe that Ryan McGee, in his piece this morning, I think they're going for their 39th trip to Omaha.
That's just sick.
I mean, you feel like Carolina's been a lot, and they have. They've been 11 times. I think Clemson's been 12 in their history. We were talking about Oklahoma State, who's been 20 times. 39.
39. That's just insane.
They're regulars.
Yeah, that's insane.
But here's what's interesting. Texas, I believe, has not won a championship.
It's been a minute.
I think since 05. Does that sound right?
That sounds about right. It's been a minute.
So, they're not only they always expect to be there,
right?
And that fan base, by the way, does expect to be in Omaha.
Yes.
But they're itching for a title. And Schloss is supposed to, Augie,
that's why they got Schloss.
Yeah, Augie got his, and then I forget the guy they hired after Augie, and he didn't do enough, and maybe he followed the guy.
Yeah.
But now Schloss is there.
And the guy before Schloss, he was, again, that was not what Texas wants.
No, you got to do. Getting there is one thing, but you're supposed to win it. At least every once in a while. You don't have to win it every year, but you're supposed to win it.
And you got a high level guy in Schloss, so.
And they spend money.
And nobody.
Although I think the other UT, if I'm not mistaken, am I right? Does Tennessee currently
$13 million? Again, while Elijah and I were upstairs yapping, and we talked about this operational budget thing, and I looked it up real quick. Not only does Tennessee spend over $13 million on baseball, they were $2 million ahead of the next closest competitor.
Wow! And is that Texas? I
believe it was Texas. I don't have it in front of me right now, but yeah, it's $2 million more. Think about that, Jay. But to be fair, that was for another coach. Yeah. We'll see where it goes with Elander.
Well, you better spend more.
Well, I swear.
And where does South Carolina climb? What, you 7th or 8th, right? Does South Carolina need to climb into the top 5?
I think so. I think so, to be honest with you. I think they're willing to. Everything we hear is they're willing to climb.
Yeah.
And you get into that stratosphere. I mean, it's all SEC teams.
Right.
You're climbing up the top 5. You're dropping around $10 million. Because right now, South Carolina's a little bit over $8 million on baseball.
I would think they need to get to 10.
Yep. I do believe that's where it's coming.
Yeah. And is that what Scott Forbes wants to hear? Is that what Kevin Schnall wants to hear?
We've said this. Look, if it's Scott Forbes, it starts with a 2.
His salary.
Yes.
And again, as you said yesterday, he personally, individually, is well compensated.
Yeah, 1.7.
So this is like, for instance, this isn't like a Kevin Schnall looking to, more than double his salary. Not to say that Kevin's only doing that. I don't mean it that way. I hope that didn't come across wrong.
I know what you're saying.
But Scott Forbes could look at it and go, I'm good.
I think honestly, if this Scott Forbes thing has some stuff, has some legs to it, I think it's what we just talked about a few minutes ago. Not his salary, the overall investment in the program, whether it's NIL, acquiring players, facilities, assistant coaches. How much are you in Chapel Hill? Because you're paying a ton of money for football and basketball because they're more important than baseball. What about us?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're really good at what you do, man, and your results are really good.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to get the assistance and the support that you think you need to stay really good, you might have an eye at a place that wants to do it. Just saying.
You can't stand pat.
You can't.
All right, we'll come back. There is a little bit, but before we talk to John Whittle at the bottom of the hour, we'll at least update you on the other parts of this story around Gamecock baseball. We got some college football things to discuss, updates across the country with the Super Regionals. So a very busy Friday rolling on here on the Postgame Show. 3:19 on a Friday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Our good friend John Whittle, Gamecocks 24/7, coming up in just a few minutes' time. So we'll get the very latest from Mr. Whittle on what's going on around the baseball search. But before we do it, so we can at least get some house cleaning things done, if you will, so that we don't waste time with John. Rather kind of look forward than backward. Our good friend David Cloninger, our buddy Jamie Bradford, reporting, as have others, John included, that yesterday South Carolina and Coastal baseball coach Kevin Schnall did meet. It is believed, according to Jamie, that it was the first in-person meeting, that maybe the others have been, video conferencing and such, Zoom, Teams, whatever. What's the other one? What was the one from the old days? I can't remember. Y'all know what I'm talking about, and I was just blanking on it. That doesn't matter. Jamie says they did a Zoom call last week at some point in time. So that's all we know. That's all we know. Exactly how far along things are, what is being discussed, not being discussed. I would think a lot of these things are easy. And then I think getting into the weeds makes it a little more difficult. What I mean by that is, Kevin Schnall, if you come, look, I still firmly believe that the bare minimum that anyone is going to make here as the head baseball coach is whatever they were paying Paul Maneri this past season.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum.
And I think you have to go up. I personally believe so. Whatever, but Kevin, I think now is making in the sixes. He's gonna more than double that.
Yeah,
for sure. So that part I think is easy, and I don't think South Carolina has a problem knowing that Monty Lee was the highest paid assistant in the country. Again, Monty and Terry Rooney, the pitching coach, combined last season made about $1 million.
Yeah.
So the point, and I think I'm not sure what John Hendry made. I think he was in that realm where you didn't have to get board approval, but it was still. I don't know, but for the sake of the discussion, I would think John Hendry was probably making around 200.
I was going to say 250 is my guess.
Yeah, I think 250 is that line, Terry. And I'm not sure.
I'm not either.
There's a line for state employees that have to, if you go above it, you have to get board approval, and if not, they can. So I'm not sure.
Right.
But it's in that range.
Yeah.
In that range. So you're looking at your other three staffers making certainly more than $1 million.
Yes.
And even in today's landscape, that's healthy.
And
so you're that part of it. I don't think the salaries are the issues.
Because let's face it, I mean, Monty was the highest paid, but if you and I know that, everybody in the business knows that. So if whoever the head coach is going to be, and you start looking to pair your staff up, people know what Monty was making and what Rooney was making. And look, if it is Schnall, his pitching coach is familiar with this place.
Correct.
Matt Williams, who was here with Mark Kingston.
Correct.
And so if Matt sees what Rooney was making and Matt's coming back to Columbia, let's say this whole thing plays out with Kevin Schnall from Coastal.
And is that, and quite honest, can I pause you? That might be part of it.
It could be.
I don't know if Matt's coming.
He might not want to.
Yeah, he may have other. You never. I don't. So that I don't. I don't think that's a done deal. No. I don't think that Kevin just up and brings the entire staff.
No, I think
he may want to.
They might not want to.
They might not. Yeah. So again, is that part of all of this? I think you got to know almost everything that's going to happen before you make it happen.
Because let's be fair, no one said, "Hey Matt, what was your feels on your time in Columbia?" You don't know. What was your feeling on how everything ended? You might go, I want to see some other. I want to see some other opportunities.
I think.
I'm just saying. We don't know for sure, but if he does come back, my guess is he looks at what Rooney made and said, "Yeah, for about 100 grand more than that, I'll show up, or 50 grand more than that, I'll show up." Which
especially.
No.
No.
I know what you're going to do. I know it. You caught yourself. Look at you. Look at you over there catching yourself. If I know what you were going to say, I think there's a few other.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to say it.
You caught yourself. But I knew what you were going to say.
It's Friday. I want to be a nice guy.
I knew what you were.
I want to be a nice guy.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know about you. The younger version of me, I wouldn't be able to catch myself. How about you?
Well, I might have caught myself, but then I might have just said, the heck with it. I'll just keep going.
Or I knew it and didn't care. That was the younger version of me.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't say this, but you know what?
Yeah,
I don't care.
Now I'm moving on.
I really don't care.
I'm moving
so
on.
anyway, the point is the assistants are going to get paid well. Huh?
It's a lot of money.
Sure is.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, thank God you got production for it. All right, anyway, so anyway.
I didn't say that.
Neither did I. Dave, don't come here and take microphones. But the point is, assistants will get paid. Head coach is going to get paid. None of that is going to be an issue.
No.
And that's it. Look, that's another look. This job has so many polls, and we go over them all the time. And it's going to be you're going to get well compensated. You got a hell of a fan base. They care. They're passionate. There's tradition here.
When that place is rocking, it's.
I'm going to tell you.
Now the SEC has a few. I don't want to say it's because Alex Box and Baum Stadium and Duty Noble and I forget the name of the park at Ole Miss now. But anyway, but that place will it rocks.
And so that's what you're walking into, and you walk into
that, actually.
Everything.
It's just it's weird.
I get the feel. Well, I'll tell you what. The last 2 years,
it's weird.
Yeah, I've had people say to me, and you know this. You've heard people say it too. Going there the last 2 years were strange.
When a Saturday conference game against a big team feels like a Tuesday night minor league game without a beer special.
Or a playground for the kids.
It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I'll tell you there were times in the Kingston era when they had it going. That LSU series when Ethan Petrie took Skeen's yard.
Yeah,
that place was.
Yeah.
It was something there
that
3-game series. Remember, one got rained out.
Yep.
But those 2 games with LSU.
Yep.
Remember, that's when I know again. This sounds like it was years ago. It was only a couple years ago. South Carolina, LSU, both top 5 at the time.
Yep.
That place was electric.
That feels like a lifetime ago.
I know, but that was when Petrie hit that home run off of Skeens, I thought that place was going to explode.
Well, and I guess that's the last year Carolina was a 1 seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Does it feels like forever? It really does.
Man.
This last 2 years.
Wasn't that long ago, man?
These last 2 years have been, it feels like 10.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. But look, the right hire will get all this back. And you know it, Jay, and I know it. When you've got all this, you just got to go get the right dude.
Yeah.
You just got to go get the right guy to come in here and get this thing back where it used to be. And I'll say this. You want to talk about a grateful fan base? Whoever that person is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that person's not going to be buying.
Well, you get, and that's another thing
and meals
for all of the stuff we talk about. With what the next coach is tasked with, there is also that added benefit if somebody likes that kind of thing that you aren't in a position to follow the guy. No. You're not even following the guy that follows the guy, and the guy you're following, despite his resume, you're not really following.
No,
you're set up to be the.
This is the opposite of following Ray Tanner.
You become the new guy. You get the chance to be the next Ray Tanner, but without having to follow Ray Tanner.
Exactly.
So there's that.
All right. Works out perfect.
I don't know if we'll ever have another John Whittle, but we do have one right now. And on the other side of the break, John will join us with the very latest from his perspective on what's going on with this search. Let's see what he thinks about where Carolina is with Coastal's Kevin Schnall, and how and why did Scott Forbes of North Carolina enter into the conversation this week when that name had really not been there? John Whittle, Gamecocks 24/7 with the latest after this.
Men's Clinic of South Carolina. We just have this conversation almost every day. Just make the call. If you're a guy, you're just not feeling like you used to, it's okay. It's all right. Just you make that call, 803-875-MENS. call and say, look, I'd like to set up a free consultation. You go in there, talk to Dr. Dan and the staff, just tell them what's going on with you. Why don't you feel like you anymore? What's going on with you? They'll listen. I know, stunning. They'll actually listen to you. They won't have one eye on their watch or carrying a golf club in their hand, getting ready to take off. They'll listen to you, hear what's going on with you, do a testosterone test on you, and then come back with a program specifically designed for you to get you back to feeling you again. Again, just make the call, go in, have a talk with Dr. Dan and the crew at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, 803-875-MENS. Get back on the road to feeling like you again. Make that call, the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
All right, welcome back in. 3:33 on a Friday. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you as the postgame show rolls on. Super Regionals underway across the country. West Virginia has won today's opener, 12-2 over Cal Poly. No score, North Carolina and Southern California up in Chapel Hill. The Heels had the bases loaded in the bottom of the first and did not push a run across, with nobody out, by the way, and did not push a run across. We're now into the bottom of the second. Always a pleasure.
You think they're distracted over all the rumors about their coach?
I don't. They got the bases loaded, so that wasn't a distraction. We shall see. But our next guest will have more on that. He is our great friend John Whittle, on the beat for Gamecocks 24/7. And as I have said, almost every time I've introduced him throughout the years he's been on the program. I don't think anybody knows more about what's going on around Carolina baseball than John, which leads me to my first question. When are you going to be announced as the new Gamecock head coach?
They couldn't afford me. No, it's that's. I tell you, I will just say that I'm ready to get whoever hired. I'm ready to see what direction this program is going to take going forward. And, I think there are a few very good choices out there for Jeremiah Donati to choose from.
Well, we've talked a lot about Kevin Schnall at Coastal being maybe the leader in the clubhouse for weeks, months perhaps even, John, depending on one's point of view. But before we go to Kevin and the latest around him and Carolina's meeting with him yesterday, I think we got to start with Scott Forbes at North Carolina. You have put him into your piece yesterday. Terry and I referenced it often throughout the afternoon. So in as much detail as you're prepared to go into, tell us how Scott Forbes either entered or in any way re-entered the conversation to be the next head coach here in Columbia.
Well, first of all, he's got to be out now since they had the bases loaded and no outs in the first inning and didn't score a run. So you got to take him off the table at this point. But no, in all seriousness, like he was when the day or two after that Pulmonary in South Carolina split, I had Scott Forbes on my list of some names to know, and a big part of that reason was because of the resources that South Carolina can provide that North Carolina just can't or won't provide to the baseball program. And not long later, about 10 days after the fact, Scott Forbes agreed to a contract extension there for himself. Now that didn't necessarily encompass everybody else and the NIL related things and all of that stuff. So, as I understand it, there's some interest there from a resources standpoint, financial standpoint that South Carolina can do that North Carolina can't. And I have said from the start that I don't envision Scott Forbes leaving North Carolina, regardless of whether or not he's offered the job. But he is somebody who I know that South Carolina is deeply involved with, and that's about the extent of it at this point. So that I can say at this point. So his team's playing in a super regional right now, and I guess we'll see what plays out in South Carolina's coaching search as they continue to play on the field.
John, another name that kind of popped up that everybody went, oh wow, okay, was Josh Holliday at Oklahoma State, who has made a bunch of tournaments in a row, got to Omaha like in 16. Last time he was in the Supers like 19 or 20 or whatever. But that name kind of slipped in, and everybody kind of gave it the old eyebrow of where'd he come from? Give us a little bit of intel, what you can, about Holliday's name resurfacing, or surfacing for the first time, rather.
Well, here's what I can say on Josh Holliday is, and I made this pretty clear in my reporting for Gamecock 24/7. I haven't heard that name from inside the athletics department. That name has been in coaching circles as somebody who has that South Carolina has interest in. I've not been able to confirm that on my end from a university standpoint. So I don't know how serious that one is. It may have just been one of those kind of vetting phone call conversations. He's been one of the most consistent coaches in college baseball. Oklahoma State now has the second longest streak of consecutive tournaments made with 13. Now it's been a long time since he's gotten past the regional round, but he's been consistently a winning program in terms of being able to make it to the tournament. So, there's some appeal there from that standpoint. How serious of a candidate he is, I'm just not real sure on that one.
Talking to John Whittle as we get hopefully closer to naming a new baseball coach at South Carolina. All right, let's come back to the leader in the clubhouse, Kevin Schnall. Reports from all of you guys covering this that Kevin met with Carolina officials yesterday. What more might you be able to tell us about how much detail they're getting into and exactly where things stand in terms of the overall negotiation?
Well, it was the nitty gritty. It was the conversation of, a decision is being made after this conversation. That's what that meeting was like. They've done a Zoom previously. This was their first in-person meeting, and this was to see how everything would go. And I think that Jeremiah's had a couple of in-person conversations, and he certainly had one with Kevin, and Kevin is I think we'll know something with Kevin Schnall one way or the other, probably within the next 24 hours. Like I'm on my toes today. I keep looking at my phone while we're sitting here talking, the three of us, just to be sure that nothing's happening. So that I'm not getting that phone call or not getting that text message that I have to hang up on you guys immediately. So that's how on my toes I am at this point, thinking that something may happen.
Hey, as much as I love you, I wish you would hang up on us because at least I know that something's happening.
Yeah,
just like you probably want to.
Well, see, now John's got an excuse if he's tired of talking to us.
That's right.
I got to go, guys. Got a text message.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I was telling somebody yesterday. I said I was on the road driving back from out of town, and I was out in the yard doing yard work, shoveling rocks and dirt for about 5 hours yesterday afternoon. That tells you what I was thinking was going to happen yesterday, and it wasn't much other than me sweating and needing a shower. So, but today's a little bit different.
Hey, John, let's focus on Schnall real quick from the Schnall side of it. From what you're hearing, that you can tell us, if Schnall does get offered the job after we've gotten past the nitty-gritty, what your contacts have told you about him taking it, him wanting to go back to Coastal, because this seems to be a conversation that's gone in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, assuming everything's right with the numbers, and I'm not just talking about his salary, but the whole 9 yards, the NIL, the recruiting budget, the coaching staff budget, the support staff budget. Assuming all of that lines up, then he'll take the job. He loves Coastal Carolina and wouldn't hesitate going back there if it didn't end up being the right situation with the Gamecocks. But I think that if he gets offered the job, it's going to be the right situation for Schnall and the Gamecocks both. And I don't anticipate him turning it down. But, if it's not right, or if South Carolina decides to go in a different direction, Kevin Schnall is not going to be upset about going back to Coastal Carolina. So I feel confident that if he gets offered, that he and South Carolina will make it work.
And on that line, John, I hope this doesn't put you on the spot. I don't think it does. Informed opinion here is, I guess, what I'm looking for. What might that be that would be the negative? What would bump up, in terms of a number, an issue where you might think, from your point of view, that Kevin would say, I'll just stay in Conway.
Yeah, I don't have a number on that one really to give you. I think that both sides pretty much know where each other needs to be. That's part of the process that happens when the coaches are going through the administration is going through the vetting process, when they're talking to agents and getting the background they need. So I'm fairly confident that both sides, assuming that South Carolina wants to offer Kevin, that they'll be able to come together pretty easily.
And in about 30 seconds, if Jeremiah got word tonight after North Carolina's game with Southern California, like, hey, Scott wants to talk to you as soon as possible, do you hit pause? Or if it's Kevin, thanks, Scott, we appreciate you, good luck to you?
I think that South Carolina right now has enough information to know where Scott Ford stands.
Okay.
I think that if Scott Forbes says he wants to be South Carolina's next coach, I don't think that South Carolina is going to need to do much more with him than what they've already done. So, you know, if Scott Forbes calls and says I want the job, then at that point South Carolina's got a real decision to make on which way to go. And you know, you can sign a term sheet, I guess, without signing a full contract and kind of locking yourself in and keeping things hush hush. But you know, I don't know that we're gonna get to that point.
Okay. Great stuff as always, sir. Again, hope you get a phone call soon. If you do, call us back. All right.
Appreciate you, my man. Thank you, Bob.
Yep,
Thank you, John.
appreciate you guys.
That's John Whittle, John M. Whittle on Twitter. Gamecock247 is the website, and at 247 Gamecocks is how you follow along on Twitter. That was a lot of good stuff in there. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about it on the other side of the postgame show. 11 minutes in front of 4 o'clock on this Friday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Thanks, as always, to our good friend John Whittle. John always brings it, and I never have any concerns otherwise. But, really shedding some solid light on this Gamecock baseball search. And seems, Terry, I want to be careful not to just directly put words in John's mouth, even if he just spoke with us, but seems to believe this thing is headed toward Carolina and Kevin Schnall. And that's why I asked him, like, what could – I mean, there's always something, what could prevent it. But he felt like, no, I think they know everything about each other. It's just a matter of if everybody just kind of feels the right way.
Yeah, I mean, if this is, if South Carolina offers it, which you feel like the way it is right now, that's what would happen. And by now, Schnall knows what they're offering and what they will offer, and probably what Coastal can counter offer at this point. And it just comes down to, okay, South Carolina wants to offer, then does Schnall want to pull the trigger? And John thinks if South Carolina offers, Schnall will take it and be the next head coach of the Gamecocks. I liked your question about Forbes. What if, Forbes hits them up here this weekend? Let's say they get knocked out.
Even if they don't.
Or whatever the case, maybe Forbes, of course, Forbes hears stuff. He knows that, Schnall met with South Carolina, and then maybe South Carolina's going to offer Schnall. Maybe that might be the push for Scott Forbes to go, hey, JD, because he probably calls Jeremiah Donati JD.
Sure.
Hey, JD, hold on a minute. Before you make any decisions, let's talk, or I want to throw something at you. Because John did say something interesting. South Carolina knows basically what everything is with them and Forbes now.
Yeah.
And John did say if Forbes made that phone call or sent that text or hit Donati on his beeper or whatever, that there will be an interesting decision.
1979 again.
Yeah, a little beeper. I never had one, by the way.
That's good, because I don't think, I think you're... Yeah.
I knew dudes who had them. I'm like, why do you have a beeper? You think it makes you look cool?
That are our age?
Yeah, they had them when they were young. Yeah, they had them when they were young. They had beepers.
No, I gotta be honest with you. I know some of my buddies' dads that were doctors that had beepers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But no, I don't have any. No, nobody. I don't know.
It was cool. It's just like, no, you look stupid. Not. You look very stupid. It's like the guys that wore scrubs but weren't doctors. They thought they looked cool.
No.
You did not.
Yeah.
You didn't. But my point is, if Forbes hits Donati and says, look, I want to be the guy. I mean, I'll say this. Look, this is nothing against anybody, but if Scott Forbes calls and says, I want to be the guy, he's the guy.
Yeah, I feel like that's the, But it didn't, and that's, look, again, John's not giving us, and this isn't about John. This is, John knows what he's doing. John's not over here to tell us definitively anything. He's reporting on what information he's learned. Yeah. But we just tried to draw a pretty solid line between the two, and it certainly felt like Kevin Schnall landed quite squarely and comfortably on the Gamecock side of the line.
I feel like unless Scott Forbes made that phone call that you kind of made up.
Well, do we read between the lines when we say when we hear from multiple sources, including John and David and others, that the Gamecocks did meet, that South Carolina did meet with someone else this week?
It could be Scott Forbes.
It feels like it was.
To be honest with you, that's the first name that popped in my head.
It feels like it was Scott Forbes. But again, I don't know that.
Why else would he hit the hot board?
Yeah.
Because I'm like you. I put that.
And then for John to say, and I think they kind of know what's up. Again, and it may be just as simple as Jeremiah, to John's point, to your point, to my point. We know who this guy. And look, I'm not sitting here to say Scott Forbes reinvented college baseball coaching.
No, he's good. But
he is amongst the very top coaches in America. There's no doubt of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, to your point, if he's calling you and he says, look, Frank Martin called South Carolina. Let me give you an analogy, and I got limited time. South Carolina was ready to go in another direction, and as I understand it, South Carolina was probably more than 90% along with the coach they thought they were going to hire.
Right.
And then Frank Martin called and said, I want your job.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank Martin became the Gamecocks basketball coach. If something similar is afoot,
if it would happen, again, this is not, again, I always repeat because I want to be respectful. This is nothing against anybody else. Scott Forbes' resume is much better than anybody else's in this conversation.
It is.
It just is.
It is.
So that's why we are acting the way we are about Scott Forbes.
Correct. I think it's the right way to act and the right way to think, but at the same time,
It does still feel like Kevin Schnall.
I think that
it really does.
I think that
it feels like Kevin Schnall.
Updates from the Supers. More on this story. We'll get into some college football thoughts as well. Keep it here. I felt good this week because I referred Integrated Media onto one of my very best friends. He called me up and he's like, "Hey, I got something that I need. I need your guys." And I was like, "All right, here's the number. Make sure you call him. Make sure you tell him I sent you." There, he's very excited, very excited. So people know. I will say it again. I think I've said it a couple times this week already about Integrated Media. People ask me all the time, "Jay, do you really feel that way? Do you have a lot?" Yes, I've got. The TVs, the sound system, the outdoor system, everything done through Integrated Media. I got commercial grade Wi-Fi in my house because of Integrated Media. I got my thermostats all hooked up nicely because of Integrated Media, and so much more because of Integrated Media. I'm telling you, they will help change your life for the better, whether it's just watching TV and movies or whether it's integrating literally everything you do with the thermostat, your security system, your cameras, so much more. 803-948-8327. Nobody better for home technology than Integrated Media. Welcome back in. Hour 2 of the Postgame Show, coming at you from downtown Columbia's Herndon Chevy Studios, wherever you are. Maybe some of you already in the car a little early today. Congrats. We're not.
Nope.
Keep trying to get us out on a golf course or some such, and the program director keeps going, we can't do that kind of thing.
Oh, that guy. That guy.
I don't know why. We can. I mean, I don't like hearing we can't. I mean, if I know we can, it's just that we're not.
Right.
I'm like, all right, well, just tell me that. It's like when I was a kid. It's like, you can't have that toy. I'm like, well, I can.
Yeah.
You're just not buying it for me. There's a difference.
I mean, let's face it. The fact that we can work past that guy every day is a miracle.
Sure.
Just a miracle.
Well, I wasn't. I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. So.
But anyway, so here we are. But wherever you are, thank you for choosing to be with us. And once again, thanks to John Whittle. If you're just tuning in today, John Whittle of Gamecock 247 or 24/7, either way you want to look at it. I don't think he cares as long as you're reading his work. He and Hale said that he, as he understands it, yesterday's meeting in person between Gamecock officials and Coastal Carolina head baseball coach Kevin Schnall was about quotes here, the nitty-gritty, the details, how it would go. Those were the things John said. I was making notes while we were talking with him. So, and that's what we expected, Terry, in the sense that you and I talked earlier in the show about this. The salary number for Kevin, the salary numbers for any potential staffers, and obviously he'll have a staff. I don't mean it that way. It'll just be Kevin. But those won't be issues. South Carolina already has proven that it's, I mean, last year's, again, for all practical purposes, y'all, last year's Gamecock baseball staff, the head coach and his 3 assistants, made about $2.5 million. So paying people to coach here isn't a problem. Now, that'll probably have to bump closer to 3, but that's not at all.
Yeah.
That's not an issue. The issue is, what's our NIL budget compared to Georgia, to Tennessee, to Florida, to Clemson, to Alabama and Auburn even.
Yep, that's a conversation.
You know, that's you know, what's our recruiting budget like? Can I get to as many places as I need to get? If I need to go see a kid, you know, out in Yorba Linda, you know, can I get out? Can I get all the way to Southern California? You know, you're going. I don't want to take the Greyhound. Nothing against the bus.
I don't want to Uber.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and if I need to go to see a kid in Pullman, Washington, if I need to see a kid in Butte, Montana.
If I feel strongly about a kid, are we going to have the financial resources to outbid another heavyweight?
You know, and look, and all those things. And look, so that's the nitty gritty, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the answer to those questions, by and large, is yes.
And here's the thing also that John said, because we were like, okay, will Schnall take the job? And John's like, from what I gather, yes.
Yeah.
If the offer is what he thinks he needs, he's going to say. And at this point, I think everybody knows everything, right? I mean, you know what you're getting from South Carolina. You know what the counter is going to be from Coastal. And it feels like Kevin Schnall, if formally offered this gig, will take it.
Well, I was talking with someone yesterday who knows a lot about what's going on. And I was telling that person the conversation you and I had, which is, again, a lot of the conversations you and I have had about this and others are somewhat hypothetical in the sense of, you know, what might these men be discussing with their families, their staff, their superiors, et cetera. And one of the things that you and I talked about on Wednesday was, listen, it's not that Kevin Schnall wouldn't have respect for the South Carolina job. It's, I went to school at Coastal. I've been at Coastal the majority of my adult life. I have already now, as a head coach, taken Coastal to college baseball's promised land, and I got them through to play for the title, not just getting there and going 0-2.
Yeah.
I've raised my family here in Horry County. There's a pull. So it's not like, I don't want the South Carolina job. It's, man, I don't want to leave the Coastal job. And I asked this person yesterday, like, that was the conversation Terry and I had, like, you know, just, does he really want the job? And I was almost cut off. Yes.
I think that's funny. Yes.
So,
yes.
And now, it doesn't mean that he still wouldn't have a pull,
right?
You know, to borrow from Michael Corleone and Godfather 3, and they pulled me back in. Yep. You know, and you know, so it's not, oh, no. He does not want to be at Coastal. That's not what that person meant when he said yes,
job.
but like, no.
He wants this job.
Yeah.
And look, we've gone over this, I think, 16,412 times since it started. This is a bleeping good job, man. This is one of the best jobs in America when you see everything around you, which always goes back to whenever we say that, we go, how are we here? But it is. It's one of the best gigs. And we're not saying this because we're the flagship. Nobody gave us a check to say it. I wish they would. I'd say it more. This is for real. It's a top 10 budget in America. Number 7 in the country in operational budget. A coach is going to be paid in the top 10 in the country, if not higher. Things are going to be done to Founders to kind of give it a facelift and kind of spruce it up a bit. There's talk about the other facilities over there that get upgraded. You know, people here care deeply. Everything is here to be successful. This is a really good job.
Well, to your point, I agree 100%.
And that's why my point is why Kevin Schnall would take.
Yeah. Well, and again, let's go back a little bit here. I realize that, let's say, for the 10 years that ended with Ray Tanner's last season so Ray Tanner's last 10 years at Carolina, South Carolina went to the College World Series 6 times and played for the title in 4 of them. All right, that's almost unheard of. You have to go back to like Coach Dato and Southern California of the 70s to get to that level of just of sustained excellence, basically. And so the next 10 years, all right, that's where things got problematic for fans around here, and rightly so. But in that 10 years, taking the COVID year out, you went to the Supers 4 times.
Yeah.
You didn't stink. The problem, though, Terry, and I understand it completely, the problem is that you also missed the tournament 4 times.
Yeah, that's
where things went wrong. But in Mark's to come back around to why it's still a great job and why coaches understand, and I know I've banged this drum till there's a hole in it. You were a 1 seed and a 2 seed in Mark's last 2 years. That's not to defend Mark and say Mark should still be here.
Right.
It's that, oh my God, you took a team that was a 1 seed and a 2 seed, and you took a top 10 budget, and you cratered it.
Mm-hmm.
How did a Hall of Fame coach crater it? And yet somehow you did. So it feels right now like that's not a great job.
No.
But again, it needed an upgrade from what Mark was doing. No one disputes that. Right. No one disputes that.
Mm-hmm.
But you cratered it.
And you nailed it. The other thing, too, I think we all sit and do it. You and I have done this on air, off air, on the phone. This was a Hall of Fame coach. This wasn't some slapping. Right. This was a Hall of Fame coach who's only been out of the game for a few years. It wasn't like you went to a nursing home and brought him in. He hadn't coached in 20 years. He's been out of the game for 3 years. He brought people in around him who were still in the game currently. No one.
Problem is, one of them that was actually good at his job, he didn't let coach.
Right, which is mind-numbing. And the more we found out about that, the more you and I both just shake our heads. But to think about a Hall of Fame coach doing this, where he was successful at 2 different places.
Yeah.
That's the one that really makes you go, I want a book. Please, give us a documentary. Yeah. I mean, we do need. I mean, we need. I
don't think there's going to be an SEC story on how that happened.
But it's
there should be.
I know
but there won't be.
We need a. What was my favorite ones were the VH1 Behind the Music.
Sure.
We need a behind the program, South Carolina behind the program for what
might be more fun to have a VH1 like pop up video and just watch things like with just fake things of what he's thinking.
This thing, I mean, really,
I don't let them take. I don't let them throw sliders.
What's your best pitch? Don't throw it anymore. No more throwing that pitch. I am get away from that pitching lab.
Yeah.
It is. It's
there may be some truth to that.
Unbelievable. And that's the thing. You nailed it. The court of recency bias goes, wait a minute, that's not a great job.
Yeah.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It was handed to the wrong group of people.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And like anything, if you give
and you don't know that, I get it. You don't know that's going to happen.
None of us thought that. We all had different degrees of thoughts on Paul Mainieri.
Well, he was taking over a team. Let me say it again, Terry Ford. He was taking over a team that'd been a 1 seed to 2 seed. You're supposed to take that 1 seed, 2 seed, make it a 1 seed again, and then take it back to the Supers.
Exactly.
That like you got.
Yeah.
The baseline was solid, man.
Yes.
You know, this was not a house of cards.
No, he even said, remember, this is not a rebuild. Well, it is
Right.
now. Thanks, Coach.
Oh, it is.
It is now. Appreciate you, brother. Nice job. Thank you. It is now.
Ugh. Industry term.
You and I yesterday were talking about this. It's like you look at each other and you're amazed every time you talk about it.
Yeah, every time.
It just is. So this is a top 7, top 10 job in the country. And yeah, the SEC is a lot more intense on baseball than when Coach Tanner had the run. No one's going to dispute that. But
Coach Tanner's greatness made other SEC schools go, dang. And then when you had Carolina play Florida in 11, you're like, all right.
Look at this.
You know.
And look.
And Arkansas in 12.
Yeah.
You know.
I just think that, to expect what Ray did might be a little too much, but there is no reason you can't expect for the right person to come in here and you become a top 10 program again.
Right.
Because you can. Because this is a top 10 program, waiting for the right person.
And I know Carolina played Arkansas to get to the title series, but I just mean that was the point being that was a heck of a run for the SEC team.
SEC. I mean, it's a thing.
LSU, I guess Coach Maneri had won his title in 2009. Vandy was coming around with Tim Corbin by then. You know, and the Mississippi State at least. Look, Georgia went to the World Series, I think 2004 and 2005. You know, so the conference was good, but now I love the point that you continue to make. There's only one school, and it's not that Missouri doesn't take it seriously. It's just that Missouri's almost going like, you know what? we can't do that.
Exactly. You just got to throw your hands up.
Yeah, I really kind of believe that too. Like it's you know, I really do. It's just like, yeah, no.
You look at whoever's going to be the next baseball coach. You go, look, man. We'd love to be. We can't.
Yeah.
We'd love to be, but we can't.
I really think they kind of do, and everybody else, because everybody else does.
Yeah.
And I really do. I just think they're like,
what do you want?
Like we got bats, we got balls.
Yeah.
We got helmets.
You see that thing out there with the dirt and the mound?
Yeah,
and,
we got. You know, we'll cut the grass at least twice a week.
Besides that,
you know,
we got a line.
Yeah. So
it is, but I just think that this program with the right person steering the wheel, it can get back to being a huge factor.
Missouri ought to just call the Royals. Be like, y'all just do us a favor. Just put these uniforms on.
Please.
Just like 8 or 10 times a year. Just come over 8 or 10 times.
How about this?
We'll tell everybody that y'all
How about your guys who aren't playing tonight?
Yeah, just
come on, send them to Columbia.
Just come over.
Help a brother out.
Yeah, it's fine. If we put them in the right uniform, nobody will ask a question.
No,
because nobody knows Missouri baseball.
We'll put eye black on everybody.
Yeah, nobody will know.
Nobody will know anything.
You know, yeah. Final score: Missouri 23, Texas 6.
What an incredible run at Missouri! Oh my God!
We'll keep our pitchers. We'll keep our pitchers. Just send your guys over.
This is like a bad Disney TV series. Right. It really.
And isn't Omaha the AAA Royals? I mean, they're not. That's not that far away either when you think about it. Yeah.
And then we can use a AAA affiliate when we get to the College World Series.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. Just they can stay in their apartment. We won't even tell anybody. All right, we'll come back on the other side. Again, as the situation warrants, we will come back in with anything around the Gamecock baseball search, but we will switch gears on the other side. As expected, not great news coming out of D.C. when it comes to the future of the new bill to save college sports. I'll explain why, although I don't think you'll be surprised. That's next on the Postgame Show. AAA Heating and Air is ready to make sure that you and your family are nice and comfortable. I got a hunch that some of AAA's techs are going to be called out here soon enough because it's going to get hot this weekend. And we're likely at a point where it stays hot across the Midlands of South Carolina. 803-677-1500. If you need to be one of those people, well, now's a great time to call. Or I tell you what, get ahead of any potential problems by getting one of their techs in to give you a full inspection. Maybe you're low on coolant. Maybe you got a leak somewhere. Maybe that's why you're not quite as cool as you need to be. Or maybe you're spending way too much on that HVAC system and it's time for something new and more efficient. How about a $1,500 system buyback rebate, a 15-year parts and labor guarantee, and they also guaranteed to get you financed to make sure that you can afford this now and for years to come. I love what AAA has done in my house. My family's happy. Yours will be too. 803-677-1500. Tell them we sent you to AAA Heating and Air. All right, welcome back in. Postgame show continues on this Friday. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you. Can I at least, I don't want you to share it, but I'm just going to tell everybody, now you can get mad at me if you want. That's up to you, Terry.
I'm mad at you already.
Terry just shared a video of his daughter who just graduated, and she's on her way to New York, right?
She's good. She's a singer.
Dude, she's going. I'm not telling you she's going to be Bette Midler. I don't know. But she could. Wow.
She can pop it.
She can sing.
She can. Yeah,
that ain't just singing, man. That ain't just singing.
She's.
I can. I mean, we can all sing. That's so.
She's.
I mean, has she hired an agent yet? Because she's going to need one.
She can pop it.
And she's what, 21, 22?
Yeah, she's 21.
Wow.
Yeah, I was telling you, it's her bag, man. She's loved this her whole life. She's sitting in the back, and it's one of those things out of nowhere, right? She's like in elementary school, and one day she starts singing in the back seat. One minute she's a little kid singing, and all of a sudden the windows are shaking.
Right.
Like, what the hell? Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
And man, it's been her thing her whole life. I mean, she sang through schools and did plays and musicals. And
now, does the Mrs. sing like that too, or is this something that came just like she was graced by the man above to sing?
The man above touched the vocal cords.
Okay.
I mean, the mom can sing, but she can't sing like that.
Not like that.
No, I did opera when I was in high school.
Sure.
No, yeah, right. But that's another thing.
The Baltimore Correctional Facility opera company.
The opera troupe. Yes.
Sure. You were Pagliacci. Good for you, man.
I don't like to brag.
No, I don't.
But anyway, so yeah. I said I'd only share that. I only share that with you because I was sitting here and I got it, and they posted it at where she works. And I was like, yeah.
That was impressive, my man.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
That was impressive.
Thank you very much.
I mean, otherwise I wouldn't have said anything.
Right.
I'm really not kidding. I'm really not kidding. That's.
Yeah.
She was singing what was that from?
I don't know what show that was. It was just
Broadway
from some
tune,
Broadway
man.
tune,
But
man.
that's
just popping it out there.
And I got to tell you, my kids listen. My girls love Broadway stuff. I mean, so there's tons of Broadway at the Phillips household, and has been for years. And she's going somewhere.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've listened to a lot of Broadway, Jay, over the last, I don't know, 16, 17 years.
I like going to shows. I never thought I would. I really didn't. I did. My mother could sing, and my mother adored The Sound of Music, and it was all every time she played Mother Superior in high school, right? And my mom could sing, and she didn't do it professionally or anything. So I grew up around music and stuff like that, but she wasn't really a Broadway type. I mean, for her, it was like Dionne Warwick and Motown stuff, things like that. But my oldest got into Broadway at a young age, and she can sing. She just doesn't want to. I was just telling you that. Like, she can sing, she just doesn't want to. But yeah, we got Broadway stuff all the time, and so now I've been to a bunch of shows, and I'd never really like Hamilton. I was mesmerized.
Oh yeah. Hamilton was man.
It was awesome.
And like for me again,
I mean, I've been to others, but I mean, because it's only songs. That's the thing. You go to a show, and most of the time, even if it's a musical, the majority of it is there's acting and talking, and then there's singing. But Hamilton is just there is no talking.
And Hamilton's a thing, man. And
unless you count rap as talking.
Right. Hamilton, when you see it, because my girlfriend loved the soundtrack. And so she was playing the soundtrack in the car. My son got into the soundtrack of Hamilton because there was a lot of rapping and all. It just sounds cool. It just sounds cool.
There's a lot that's very cool.
First time I heard it, I went, wow.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And but yeah, the Broadway stuff, I've heard a lot of it.
Well, I got to, by the time she's in 10 years from now, man, be a name on the marquee. So,
well, by then she's forgotten who her dad is. I was an orphan.
Well, you don't know that she hasn't already.
No, that's true.
Actually, that's not true because you'll be gone next week to help her move across the country.
Yes.
Then she'll forget you.
That's a card I'll keep in my pocket if she does make it big. Remember when your dad moved you back? Anyway.
Her people will call you.
That's right.
Mr. Ford, you need to. She doesn't really remember that.
And here's a check for you never to talk about you being her father.
Sure. Here's 2 tickets in the balcony for the Sunday matinee.
Sitting next to the dudes from the Muppets.
Yeah,
that's where you'll be,
Sunday
sir.
Matinee.
That's
all right. Anyway, let's get into it here. I don't. Good news, bad news. I don't know. But as we know, last week a bill was introduced in the U.S. Senate that is designed to fix a lot of what ails college athletics, and I think it's a noble effort. I like pretty much everything that's in there, but we all already talked about some of the things that would be challenged in court, things like capping coaches' salaries, or rather in this case, not capping coaches' salaries, but when a coach could go leave for another job, and it's just, it's not collectively bargained, it's going to be hard to do that. Some have complained, by the way, that why don't you cap coaches' salaries? And again, you can't do that without some form of collective bargaining. But to collectively bargain, and this gets to the real point, you would have to deem college athletes as employees of their institutions, and then they would obviously have to unionize. And today, the majority leader of the U.S. House of Representatives, whose name is Steve Scalise, who is also from Louisiana. So, again, the top 2 Republicans in the House, the Speaker, Mike Johnson, and the Majority Leader, Steve Scalise, are from Louisiana. And obviously, there's one big giant school in Louisiana that is a member of the Southeastern Conference. And so there's a lot of people saying, well, yeah, they just – and by the way, I don't know if Mike Johnson knows a darn thing about sports, but from what I understand, Scalise is a pretty big sports fan. But he said, did Mr. Scalise, I'm glad they're doing some work on the Senate side, but for the House to be able to take anything up, you got to prevent employment status of the student athletes. You also don't want to open up all the schools to lawsuits from trial lawyers that would make a much more litigious environment. Those are things that have been big problems on the House side, end quote, from, again, Majority Leader Steve Scalise. And he told that to Politico magazine. Terry, in other words, just so anybody can't, if you don't want to read between the lines, it's dead on arrival in the House. Yeah. Unless, now what the House will do is they'll take all the things that may pass in the Senate, and just to remind everybody, look, nothing's passed the Senate yet. They had a big committee hearing on Wednesday. This will get to the floor of the Senate, and it will likely pass the Senate. They'll need 60 to prevent a filibuster, but I think they're going to get that in the Senate. This bill, as written, does not say that college athletes should be or will become employees, but it does not prevent it in the future. It allows for that possibility in the future, which was mandatory from the Democrat point of view of the senators that helped write this bill as a bipartisan bill. And Senator Cruz has admitted that from the Republican side. Like, that was one of the things we didn't want, but it was one of the things that they absolutely had to have. And if we want bipartisan, well, that's what we had to do. Well, the House is basically telling you, yeah, that's not happening on our side.
And this is why you and I say this over and over and over and over and over and over again. You're never going to get anything through Congress. There's too many folks who are going to say, oh, yeah, we have a block of people that aren't going to let that get through. And the employee thing is a thing because, again, you've got your folks who are so pro-labor and so pro-employee, and if you try to block people from being employees and all these other things, that's not going to fly. You have others who don't want them to be employees and don't think they should be. That's not going to fly. You got a ton of stuff here that's bordering on antitrust violations, and this is just not going to work. It's not going to work, Jay.
I want to read you a quote from Andy Staples, who put this out a couple hours ago. This is Andy's words on his Twitter feed. In quoting this particular article from Politico. Andy said, they can officially, the colleges, he means, the schools, they can officially start trying to solve their own problems now. What Scalise wants won't pass the Senate. What Cruz and Cantwell drew up won't pass the House. Congrats on wasting all that lobbying money.
Yes. And wasting everybody's time with this dog and pony show on Capitol Hill the last couple of days.
Yeah.
It's got to stop.
But you got to fix your own problems. I hope this, and yet I said it to you yesterday, I'm going to say it again. Y'all, the schools keep banging their head into the wall, running in at full speed, believing that eventually their head is going to knock down the wall.
Right, and all you're going to do is
all you are is concussed.
Yeah, I mean.
That's it. The wall is standing. The wall ain't going anywhere.
They are just, well, we want it. We can't. Yeah. We want it. Yeah, well, this is what we want. Well, you can't have it. Well, we want it. Yeah. Well, how about this thing is what's going to fix it? No, I don't want that. I want this.
Right.
It's insane. The arrogance and the hypocrisy and the stubbornness to go back to what you had before, which is blatantly breaking the law, and not to do the thing that's sitting right in front of you that would fix most of your problems. Because of you're too high and mighty to go do it is, I got no words.
Right. No. So Andy's right. It is. I would hope that this is a signal to the schools, y'all. We have to, which you should have been doing all along.
Right.
We have to fix this.
You know, we got Ted Cruz was on, oh, geez, what is it? He was on Punch Bowl News.
Okay.
And talked about his meeting with the commissioners of the SEC and Big Ten. Let's get it next segment.
Hold that. Yep, we'll do that for you on the other side of the postgame show. All right, I told you earlier how to stay nice and cool inside, but how about having a lot of fun outside in the hot months? It's never too late to call Griffin Pools and Spas and start the process of getting a pool in your backyard. You and the family have been thinking about this for a while? Go ahead and call 803-957-2121 or visit griffinpoolsandspas.com and learn how to contact them. They got a big thing right at the top. Contact us today. They'll be more than happy to send somebody out to your house as quickly as possible, look around the backyard, give you some ideas about what that backyard vacation oasis could look like without ever having to go to a resort, right? You can get that done. Custom pool design, aggressive schedule commitment, top quality construction, low maintenance equipment installation with saltwater pools. They're ready to make you and your family happy for years to come, and they've been doing it for 50-plus years, so they know what's up. Griffin Pools and Spas, North Lake Drive in Lexington, right near the dam, griffinpoolsandspas.com.
Our first shot at the traffic this afternoon. We do have one accident. No, we don't. I'm sorry. It's slow traffic. I-26 eastbound between Lake Murray Boulevard and the I-20 exit. It is slow. I drove on it earlier. It's slow traffic. Coming from I-26 eastbound between Lake Murray Boulevard exit 102 and exit 107B I-20. Use your little person in your phone to navigate you around it. That's what I had to do. Also, we have the typical road construction in the area. So, once again, use a little person in your phone to navigate around it. pop back in here. Ted Cruz thoughts on his talks with Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey. That's next here on the post-game show on the game.
.25 in front of 5 on this Friday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Update from the Super Regionals. Game 2 of the day / afternoon going on in Chapel Hill. North Carolina leads Southern California 4-1 in the bottom of the fourth. North Carolina hitting 2 on, 1 out. And again, they had an early opportunity with the bases loaded in the bottom of the first and nobody out, but didn't push one across. But since then, they've felt a little more comfortable. So still an opportunity here in the bottom of the fourth. But North Carolina leads 4-1 in the first game of the day. West Virginia hosting Cal Poly. And the Mountaineers won that one 12-2.
Yeah, I do believe they'll be singing Country Roads at the College World Series.
Yeah, or at least to get there. I don't know if they'll sing it once they get there, but some of them will.
They'll sing it after the Super.
Sure.
I'll tell you what, man. I said that to you the other day. Watching that on TV when they won, and they do get the whole crowd and the players come out and they get on the baseline.
Yeah.
They're all swaying, singing Country Road. They're all drunk. It's like moonshine everywhere. I worked in West Virginia for 2 years. I can say this. It is a cool thing.
West Virginia Chamber of Commerce on line 1.
Hey, Ford. It is a very cool thing they do post game there. It is
actually like West Virginia Department of Revenue. Mr. Ford, about those property taxes.
We need to talk. Those state taxes you didn't pay, because
you'll be like, no, I paid them all. It says here you didn't.
And those tickets.
I didn't get any tickets. It says here you did.
Really quick, there's a town called North Fork, West Virginia, famous for the speed trap town.
Sure, we love those. Everybody has one.
I'm gonna tell you, man. You go through that town. It's like it goes from you're on this Highway 52. It's called. Once you hit North Fork, it goes from like 55 miles an hour to 15 miles an hour,
sure.
Like right away. If you don't get slowed down enough, I'm telling you, all of a sudden you see behind you and there's a rose bush with police lights on it, right, pulling you over. As I got real quick. I got pulled over one time. Guy gets out, looks just like Jackie Gleason from Smoking the Bandit.
Sure.
Walks over. Hey, boy. Why'd you fly like a bat out of hell through our town? You know, we got 20 mile an hour speed limit right here, and it says by my little gun, you was going 22. I don't know what you guys do in Maryland, but here we abide by the law. We got children playing around here. We care about our families. 22 and a 20, Jay Phillips. I got kicked for 22 and a 20.
I believe it.
And of course, they write the ticket back in those days. It was $5 because it was whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, and he goes, I encourage you to go courtrooms right around the corner over there. I know by the look of that long hair of yours, you've probably been in a lot of courtrooms. You go around that corner right there, you can pay that ticket, boy.
Yeah, and you did. I hope.
You bleeping right, I did, pal.
Don't want to go back to court.
I want none of that smoke.
Yeah.
North Fork, West Virginia.
I believe it, man. Yeah, South Carolina has a few of those. On the way to where my wife grew up, there's a town called Nichols, and it turns from 55 to 35 to 25 real quick.
Really?
And the 25 portion, don't go 26, man.
No.
Don't.
No.
And the thing is, like that's an area. Many of you may have driven it. You'll ultimately hook up in a couple of miles from there to Highway 9, and a lot of the Charlotte area folk that go to the Grand Strand come down through that way.
Oh, okay.
And so they
get nabbed, dude.
They'll get you.
Yep. They make it. Yeah. They make a killing off of that. Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know if their policemen look like Jackie Gleason from Smoking the Bandit.
So good. I was looking for
22.
I was looking for a son-in-law. I got popped 22 and a 20.
22 and a 20.
22 and a 20.
That's
and by the look of that hair, look like you've been in a lot of courtrooms, boy.
Oof.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You see, at that point, like you just want to go. Well, never mind.
Yeah, it went through my mind. Then I thought about what happens to outsiders when they're going through their town and they decide
to busted taillight here, boy.
Yep.
Your tags are expired. You don't even have tags. I do have tags.
No, you don't.
I don't see one.
See a damn tag anywhere around here, boy. Oh,
pull it for you.
yeah. All right, so
All right.
We got this Ted Cruz cut here.
Yeah.
I think we should play. This is Ted Cruz again. He was on a podcast talking about his meeting with Tony Petitti of the Big Ten and Greg Sankey of the SEC regarding this bill.
Yeah.
What I told, when I sat down with Sankey and Petitti, I said, listen, you're not going to be able to form a super league. You're going to lose the litigation on that. They disagreed with me on that. I said, it's fine. And I got to tell you, I probably have 100 votes to stop you from forming a super league. Like, that's probably right. And so that's actually one of the things people like about this bill. And I said, but you can think about it this way. So one of the benefits to negotiating collectively is you can do schedule optimization. You can schedule blockbuster game after blockbuster game. That generates more eyeballs, more revenue. And I said, you want to think about it this way. We are giving you legal protections to form a super league. But the price is you can't leave everybody behind. Right. If you take the rest of college sports with you, if you preserve, and a lot of my focus also was not on the big, incredibly successful programs, but all the other ones. And the Division II schools, the Division III schools, keeping the institution that is college athletics, preserving that is why it's called the Protect College Sports Act, because if we don't act, much of that's going away.
All right.
That's the first time I've heard that, by the way. How about you?
Yeah, it is actually. 100 votes alone in the Senate isn't going to stop the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten from doing something should they so choose. By the way, Tony Petitti has put out a statement that in so many words said any discussion or anybody saying that we, meaning the Big Ten and SEC, have had a discussion about the formation of a super league is erroneous. Mm-hmm. You can believe me if you want to. I imagine there'd be a lot of people in a lot of rooms that at some point could refute that. So going public with such a statement is bold. So I would imagine that he can back that up. Regardless, listen, what Senator Cruz just said, we all agree with. Nobody wants college sports to go away.
Right.
But the money that's coming in isn't there to watch. And I know this sounds harsh, and I never mean it to, I promise, but it's not there to watch Division II. I want Division II kids to be able to go play. And I mean, I don't know. What's really changing from there? They're not paying NIL. What's really changing in Division II and Division III or the NAIA? Very little. I mean, this really isn't affecting them.
No, what this affects, and the reason the SEC and the Big Ten want no part of this bill is the 75-25. They don't want a bill that if 75% of Division I votes to pull the TV money, then all of a sudden the Big Ten and the SEC have to pull TV money. They don't want to do it. All this other stuff is whatever. The rest of it's teacher from peanuts. Let's just be real here.
Right.
What they hear is, wait a minute, whoa. You mean if 75% of Division I votes to pull the TV money, we got to go with that? We don't want to do that.
And and look, the answer is really no, we don't have to. The irony as well, Terry, is that the same people that are currently paying all that TV money, primarily Disney and Fox, are still going to look at the 75% and go, we're not really here for y'all.
No, we're here for the SEC and the Big Ten, except for maybe 10 schools.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of you here that will.
But we're here for the SEC and the Big Ten, and that's the SEC and the Big Ten's point.
Yeah.
They're saying, wait, okay, so you want us to pull the money together when we're the show. So why should we help out the others that aren't the show? Why am I helping? No offense. Why the hell am I helping Kansas State? They're in the wrong Manhattan. Not to be mean, but it's just I get what the SEC and the Big Ten are saying. I understand it. Look, and I've seen studies of this. If you did pull the TV money, you would make more because you're going to do like the NFL does, Major League Baseball and the NBA and the NHL, and you as an entity are negotiating, and you would get a better deal. You would. But the SEC and the Big Ten are going, we got a pretty good deal right now.
Yeah.
And how much more are we going to get compared to the much more these other guys are going to get? Because we like getting what we get, but you know what's more important? We like what they're not getting.
Well, like we said, Florida is not going to say, oh, I want Central Florida to make as much, or Florida Atlantic.
No.
Michigan's not going to say, I want Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan to make as much. Ohio State's not going to say, I want Akron and Miami to make more.
Right.
You know, they're not. No, like they're not doing that.
No, and if you came back to give them a tiered system where they're still hand over fist, but everybody's making more, maybe they might listen to you.
And then nothing really changes.
Right. Exactly.
And at least in terms of the gap between, and that's what people are trying to close. Jay or nay, next. All right, welcome back in. J or Nay coming up here in just a second. After that, top of the hour headlines and Gamecock Notebook today. We will, as we say in the industry, re-rack a little bit of what we had to say with our good friend John Whittle with the latest on the Gamecock baseball search. So I'll have that for you. And I'll have some updates during the headlines on the Super Regionals, which are underway, and then get you set up for all the SEC teams in action. Plus, we have in the drive around the SEC, we have the SEC ACC Challenge for basketball all set.
Yep, know where the Gamecocks are traveling off
so
to?
we'll have that coming up throughout the rest of the program. In the meantime,
you ready?
Yeah, I mean, I hope we have. I don't know which. Oh, that was nice. I don't know which music you're playing for me today. So, but I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go. Let's go here. Right, I always enjoy this one.
This is a solid one.
Can't go wrong with this one. Little dating game.
Sure. This is some creepy guy on the dating game.
That's good. Good little dating game action with Jay Phillips on J or Nay.
Thank God I'm not in the dating game anymore.
Man.
Say that much.
All right. The Chicago Bears could possibly leave Illinois for Indiana. The Bears Board of Directors voted yesterday to advance their stadium development in Hammond, Indiana.
This is part of my headlines today, so I guess I'm giving up some of the headlines here to do this.
A little bit.
Okay.
Jay or Nay on the Bears crossing the border into Indiana to play in a shiny new stadium, leaving the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois.
Yeah, I'm a nay on this, and I realize that Gary is right there, like Newark is to New York or something like that, or Jersey City. I understand that Gary, Indiana is right there and the southern edge of Chicagoland, but there's just something different about this, in my opinion. And I'll be honest, the Bears are looking for a sweetheart deal from a government. That's all.
They don't care where it's at.
And the Bears have more than enough. The Hallis family has more than enough money. The Bears are one of the most valuable franchises in football. You can borrow against your worth. They bought a bunch of land at the old horse track, like north of town.
Well, that was the plan.
That was the plan. And then the state of Illinois was like, well, I mean, you got the money, develop it. And I mean, and if I may, too, you know, the Kroenke family just financed, by and large, SoFi Stadium out in L.A.
Yeah, they did, because in California,
they weren't giving them any breaks.
They don't give you money in California.
And so you can do it. They just don't want to. And I get why you don't want to. Tons of NFL owners are like, as long as the government pays for most of it, we'll be happy to do it and make all the profit.
But here's the problem. The government doesn't pay for it.
No, the taxpayers do.
Right, and that's the thing that gets me about this, and you nailed it, dude. The Bears have bazillions. The McCaskies have bazillions. You can build your own stadium. You're still going to get a nice deal from the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois. They're going to give you level rent and all these other things about the land, right? Or whatever they.
And they'll do the infrastructure stuff.
Sure.
They'll put in the plumbing. They'll build you an off ramp.
You are just wanting to find a sweetheart deal so you don't have to spend any money.
Kevin Warren is the kiss of death, man.
He's just, don't start us on Kevin Warren.
So I'm a nay. I'm a nay on that.
Okay, I'm going to say this really quick. I've been through Gary and Hammond, Indiana. Good luck. Hope you have Kevlar. Good luck. When I was working out in the Midwest, Gary had like the third highest crime rate in America. Yeah, go up and build a stadium in Hammond, Gary.
Sure.
Go for it. Go for it.
Sure.
All right, Baker Mayfield. Contract talks with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nowhere near close to getting done. Baker Mayfield, big franchise quarterback contract, Jay or nay?
I got to say, Jay, man. I mean, he's done well for them. And this is not like Jacoby Brissett out in Phoenix. You know? I mean, Baker Mayfield, I think, like I was watching Chris Sims with Florio the other day. And, I mean, Chris is a quarterback. His dad was a quarterback. I feel like he knows quarterbacks, right? He has Baker Mayfield as a top 10 quarterback in today's NFL. Now, that's one guy's opinion.
I wouldn't go that high.
I might not either, but I think in a relative sense for some of these negotiations, I think you got to pay Baker. Now, maybe you're not paying him, $1 million a week.
Right.
But I think he's got to get paid.
I think
And the Glazers are going to be like, nothing.
I get Baker.
They didn't want to pay Tom Brady.
Yeah, they don't pay anybody. Look, I give Baker credit for becoming the quarterback he's become.
Yeah, he's worked hard.
Because he basically was thrown to the scrap heap saying you're going to be a career backup now.
Him, Darnold, a lot of guys have been.
And Baker has helped stabilize the Tampa Bay quarterback position. I think there is a line you should pay him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know what he's asking. What's he asking for? Like 30?
Oh, let me see. I saw it right here and now. I'm blanking.
I mean, I read it earlier. I think he's worth in the 20s.
He's averaging $33 million right now, so he probably wants.
Oh, then he wants more like 40.
He probably wants about 40.
Okay.
Now, if you get him in,
he's making 33. Then,
look, if you get him at like 38, somewhere in that neighborhood,
meet him in the high 30s. But I
think that's fair.
Yeah,
don't you?
Yeah. Headlines coming up.
I check on the traffic as soon as we get the right tab up on the computer. You think I make this up on my own? Sometimes it sounds like it. It does. We have slow traffic again. We've been discussing this all afternoon. I-26 eastbound between Lake Murray Boulevard exit, that's exit 102, and the exit to I-20 at 107B. It is very slow. Very slow. It's been like that for a while this afternoon. So, again, find another way around it because there's some ways. I found one with my little person on my phone. So you want to do that and stay away from the area. It's slow going. We'll come back, do a little 5 o'clock news on the game.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Friday. It's also the final hour of the post-game show alongside Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. Thank you so much for being with us. We start with the story that continues to captivate Gamecock Nation, even if there has been very little movement in the last few days, and that is the search for a new South Carolina baseball coach. Our good friend John Whittle joined us earlier today, and we'll have some more of what John had to say if you missed it coming up in the Gamecock Notebook. But John, David Cloninger, Jamie Bradford, all reporting that yesterday the Gamecock staff, or at least the administrators, did meet with Kevin Schnall, the head coach of the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. It's believed to be the first in-person meeting between Coach Schnall and Gamecock administrators. And while we don't know the details, nor even do we really know exactly where this meeting took place, John told us that he felt it got into some of the details of what things might look like. That being said, yesterday, Chance Miller, the athletics director at Coastal Carolina and the former associate AD here in Columbia, did an interview with WBTW Television, and here's what he had to say about Kevin Schnall's future.
So I can't tell you what Kevin has done or not done, but Kevin is our coach right now. He's actually over there doing exit interviews with all the players, and as of this morning, we were talking about how we were going to build the roster for next year and how we were going to try to get back to Omaha. I can tell you this, I'm not planning on Kevin Schnall leaving. I'm planning on Kevin Schnall being the Coastal coach for a long time.
So there you go. That's what an AD should say when you want to hold on to a guy. And there is no doubt that Coastal wants to keep Kevin Schnall. It seems at this point that any distance between Kevin Schnall and a secondary candidate for South Carolina is pretty wide. It's hard to gauge. And again, just stay tuned so you can hear more of what John Whittle had to say, because I assure you that he and Terry and I got into that very topic, not just about Kevin, but about the other candidates that are out there, especially one that seems to maybe be I don't want to say the only other one, because that would not be accurate, but it feels like there's a real tiered system right now of potential candidates, with Kevin Schnall obviously being well out front at this point. But anyway, we'll keep you updated on that. But there was an in-person meeting yesterday. Again, that's been reported by multiple outlets, as I said, including John Whittle, David Cloninger of the Post and Courier, our buddy Jamie Bradford at the Big Spur. So we'll see where this thing goes. But stay tuned so you can have more detail from the great John Whittle of Gamecock 247. That is coming up here in just a little bit. In the meantime, some really disappointing news out of college athletics. This coming from the Associated Press today. Alabama State's first NCAA tournament win, and was back in 24-25, and now we have learned that 4 players on that team have been ruled permanently ineligible for accepting payments from gamblers to fix the outcome of a game during that 24-25 season. Amar Knox, Sean Fulcher, Corey Hines, and Tony Madlock allegedly engaged, according to the AP, in a game manipulation when Alabama State played at Southern Mississippi in December of 2024. Southern Miss was a 6-point favorite in that game. They ended up winning by 17. According to the NCAA today, 2 known gamblers offered the players 4 players, a total of $2,000 to throw the game.
That's it?
The players accepted and were later paid. That's
$2,000.
$500 apiece.
What? Well, no, wait a minute.
Yeah,
$500 apiece.
Yeah, a total of $2,000. A total.
Bruh.
4 players, $2,000, not $2,000 each.
Can we get just do real world real quick? You're going to ask me to jeopardize my eligibility in my career as a college athlete, over $500. Yeah. And you,
Knox
and I would and they accepted they accepted that.
Knox, Hines, and Madlock, according to this report, were the top scorers for Alabama State that season. Fulcher was a reserve, and many of you might remember, but Knox hit a layup with 1 second left back in the first four in 2025 to give Alabama State their first ever NCAA win over St. Francis. The two gamblers were indicted back in January as part of that larger federal probe in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. The NCAA discovered it after Corey Hines, transferred to Temple. Temple notified enforcement staff that Hines had been contacted by the FBI and was shown text messages concerning what was deemed a sports integrity issue while he was at Alabama State. $500, man.
$500, man. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just.
And once
insane.
they got you, they got you. It's like those kids at Boston College like 30, 40 years ago.
Years ago, yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, like once they got you, they got you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just, if you're a player, yeah, I'm going to Alabama State. I get it, but $500.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Just wow.
So again, those players have now, for that infraction, been made permanently ineligible.
Permanently ineligible, and the NBA. Not to say they were going to be NBA players, but you're guys who would be hoping to get to a G League, grind your way into the NBA.
Maybe
do it the hard way because you're not getting drafted. None of those guys are getting drafted.
No.
But now that outlet is gone because the NBA don't want any part of you.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't, and I have no idea where to tell you where they would. I don't. It doesn't sound to me like they had any real
but
pro
my point
prospects.
Is, if you hoped you could, because I mean I know guys who've done this.
But if you're transferring to Temple, you're
trying.
You're pretty good. I mean, Temple.
Up, right.
Temple. That's a good basketball school. So.
And even if you're like a guy, I know like I've known guys like this who say they played in Alabama State, and they get a chance to go try out for maybe a G League team.
Yeah.
Maybe their agent gets them a tryout, and maybe they impress enough to get on a G League squad, and who knows maybe where that could lead them. These guys don't even have that slim open door to be open for them now.
No.
It's done. Now, could you go somewhere overseas and play maybe? I don't know the rules over there, but that's your only hope because your basketball career in America is done for $500.
Yeah. Yeah. 2,000 total, 500 apiece.
Wow.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
If you missed Jay or Nay, this was in it, but Terry stealing my news thunder here. The Chicago Bears took a big step towards leaving the state of Illinois this morning. The Bears Board of Directors voted to advance a stadium development in the town of Hammond, Indiana, just across the border from Cook County in Chicago. The exact site, they still don't even know where it's going to be. So they're just basically saying we got a better deal from the state of Indiana than we were getting from the state of Illinois. Quote from the Bears: "We believe a world-class stadium project in Hammond will transform the region, connecting northwest Indiana and the south side of Chicago through the Loop and across the neighborhoods and suburbs stretching north of the city." The announcement does not guarantee that they leave Illinois. The NFL, a source from the NFL says that Indiana is, quote, in the lead, but, quote, Illinois can still get back in the race. A spokesperson for the Illinois governor's office said the constant shifting by the Bears has hindered progress. Quote, "The Bears have built a storied legacy in Illinois for more than 100 years, but have spent the last 6 years, and especially the last few months, shifting their position on a stadium location that has hindered their progress. Today appears to be another instance of that after Illinois leaders have been working with the Bears in good faith. Governor Pritzker has always been clear that he wants the Bears to stay in Illinois and still remains open to a sensible solution that protects taxpayers."
Yeah, and the Bears don't care about taxpayers. Just keep spending money to come to our games, and then we're going to take your taxpayer dollars to build our stadium. And oh, by the way, we haven't won a Super Bowl in forever.
I don't understand. And look, I'm not a local up there. I need to call our good friend Andrew Kiddick and find out because he's back at home in Chicago after all his years down here. But again, as I said, the Bears bought that property at the old Arlington Raceway, the horse track.
Yep.
It's 326 acres, man. I mean, and now I get it. It's kind of far out of town, but it's not so far, and it's Chicago.
Yeah. And
I mean, it just people will get to you. It's Chicago.
Here's the other part of this too. Here, and trust me, this could be the big play here, and we didn't talk about it in the last segment. Is Chicago is using the Hammond, Gary, Indiana idea to leverage against Chicago so Chicago can bend and give them what they want to stay in Chicago, because they're playing the leverage game of the fan base does not want this team out of Illinois or out of Chicago, so you're going to cave to the pressure.
Right.
And that's what they're hoping for. I don't think they want to go to Indiana.
Oh, they're looking at and they're saying, do you really want Indiana to have 2 NFL teams?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So basically, I think you're using the leverage of the Hammond/Gary, Indiana deal to get what you really want from Chicago. Because, again, man, I've been there. No,
I listen.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what they say in the quote? Transform the area. What does that tell you, Jay?
Yeah, I get you.
It tells you right there what you need to know.
Well, we'll see.
I really think they're using the Hammond Gary thing.
Oh, don't think it
as a leverage play for Chicago.
Don't think it. Know it. Atlanta Braves host the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. Game 1 of a 3-game set. Atlanta did not sweep the Toronto Blue Jays last night. Chris Sale didn't take the loss, but the Braves fell 7-3 last night to the Toronto Blue Jays. Unfortunately, Braves fans, if you're heading over this weekend, you will not see Paul Skeens on the hill for the Bucks. He is not starting this weekend.
Nope. He had a little bumpy outing last time.
Well, every once in a while somebody does. Martin Perez goes for the Braves tonight, by the way. Mitch Keller will start for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And finally, in our integrated media headlines of the day, Game 2 tonight of the NBA Finals. The Knicks stealing Game 1 on the road, 105-95 in San Antonio. 8:30 tip-off tonight. Spurs better play with a little more anger, maybe not hunger, but anger. You've been pointing out that they're young. Look, I think I predicted a Knicks win in Game 1 and a little hangover effect. The Spurs spent a lot of energy to win Game 7 on the road the other night up in, from their point of view, OKC. It didn't surprise me that, and look, they had a 14-point lead in the second half. And just simply could not hold it. The Knicks have now won 12 straight, second longest winning streak in NBA playoff history. The Spurs are still slight favorites in this one. That'll be part of Jay versus the Internet a little bit later on, I'm sure. But, either outcome tonight, Terry Ford, will not surprise me. I hate to say that, unless it's some type of just massive blowout in one way or another. But if the Knicks win another one within 10 or so points, or if the Spurs come back, I'm just not going to be surprised. I'll be more surprised if the Spurs lose again.
Yeah, I just think Game 2 is always an adjustment game. For the team that loses Game 1 in these series, now you adjust. Okay, you see what they did to you in Game 1, now you got to adjust to it in Game 2. I think you're going to see Wembanyama not so much out there trying to go one-on-one, more of what he did against Oklahoma City, to where he just, look, when Wembanyama is near the basket, and the San Antonio's passing the ball, moving the ball, and getting him in favorable situations, he's dangerous. I think you got to go back to that tonight. And I think, defensively, you got some things to figure out with Karl Anthony Towns, because he was a problem for 3 quarters. And he's a matchup issue. And what are you going to do with Wembanyama? You're going to put him in the paint and have him be free safety center fielder, or are you going to have him go out on the perimeter to deal with Karl Anthony Towns? I think the adjustments San Antonio has to make are going to be the key tonight. I think they make the proper adjustments. I think they win Game 2. And I picked the Knicks in 7, but I think San Antonio wins Game 2. And I'm going to tell you this. You don't want to go down 2-0 to the Garden.
Right.
Just saying. So I think the sense of urgency is a thing, Jay, in this stuff. And I think San Antonio's sense of urgency will pull this thing to 1-1 if they make the right adjustments. We'll see.
Yeah. I lied. Real quick, let me get to this. Baseball updates for you. Again, Game 1 today of the Super Regionals. West Virginia all over Cal Poly 12-2. And in the top of the 6th inning, they were down 5-1 was Southern California. They have now taken a 6-5 lead at North Carolina. The Heels are now batting bottom of the 6th, but Southern California with 5 runs in the top of the 6th to take a 6-5 lead. Game 2, Little Rock and Troy have just gotten underway, top of the 1st in Troy, Alabama, and later tonight in Auburn, Alabama. It'll be the Tigers hosting Mississippi in the Super Regionals. All right, we'll hear a lot from John Whittle. A lot of detail on the Gamecock baseball search from John Whittle next.
Oh, I got to hit the button. Oh, here we go.
All right, let's jump right into it on the Gamecock Notebook today. Jay and Terry back here with you on this Friday. Our very good friend John Whittle, one of the best in the business when it comes to covering Carolina athletics and especially Carolina baseball, joined us. And we got into a lot of things here, but we started him with how North Carolina head baseball coach Scott Forbes seemed to enter the mix quite suddenly this week.
Well, first of all, he's got to be out now since they had the bases loaded and no outs in the first inning and didn't score a run. So you got to take him off the table at this point. But no, in all seriousness, like he was when the day or two after that Pulmonary in South Carolina split, I had Scott Forbes on my list of some names to know, and a big part of that reason was because of the resources that South Carolina can provide that North Carolina just can't or won't provide to the baseball program. And not long later, about 10 days after the fact, Scott Forbes agreed to a contract extension there for himself. Now that didn't necessarily encompass everybody else and the NIL related things and all of that stuff. So, as I understand it, there's some interest there from a resources standpoint, financial standpoint that South Carolina can do that North Carolina can't. And I have said from the start that I don't envision Scott Forbes leaving North Carolina, regardless of whether or not he's offered the job. But he is somebody who I know that South Carolina is deeply involved with, and that's about the extent of it at this point. So that I can say at this point. So his team's playing in a super regional right now, and I guess we'll see what plays out in South Carolina's coaching search as they continue to play on the field.
John, another name that kind of popped up that everybody went, oh, wow, okay, was Josh Holliday at Oklahoma State, who has made a bunch of tournaments in a row, got to Omaha like in 16. Last time he was in the Supers like 19 or 20 or whatever. But that name kind of slipped in, and everybody kind of gave it the old eyebrow of where'd he come from? Give us a little bit of intel, what you can, about Holliday's name resurfacing, or surfacing for the first time, rather.
Well, here's what I can say on Josh Holliday is, and I made this pretty clear in my reporting for Gamecock 24/7. I haven't heard that name from inside the athletics department. That name has been in coaching circles as somebody who has that South Carolina has interest in. I've not been able to confirm that on my end from a university standpoint. So I don't know how serious that one is. It may have just been one of those kind of vetting phone call conversations. He's been one of the most consistent coaches in college baseball. Oklahoma State now has the second longest streak of consecutive tournaments made with 13. Now it's been a long time since he's gotten past the regional round, but he's been consistently a winning program in terms of being able to make it to the tournament. So, there's some appeal there from that standpoint. How serious of a candidate he is, I'm just not real sure on that one.
Talking to John Whittle as we get hopefully closer to naming a new baseball coach at South Carolina. All right, let's come back to the leader in the clubhouse, Kevin Schnall. Reports from all of you guys covering this that Kevin met with Carolina officials yesterday. What more might you be able to tell us about how much detail they're getting into and exactly where things stand in terms of the overall negotiation?
Well, it was the nitty gritty. It was the conversation of, a decision is being made after this conversation. That's what that meeting was like. They've done a Zoom previously. This was their first in-person meeting, and this was to see how everything would go. And I think that Jeremiah's had a couple of in-person conversations, and he certainly had one with Kevin, and Kevin is I think we'll know something with Kevin Schnall one way or the other probably within the next 24 hours. Like I'm on my toes today. I keep looking at my phone while we're sitting here talking, the three of us, just to be sure that nothing's happening. So that I'm not getting that phone call or not getting that text message that I have to hang up on you guys immediately. So that's how on my toes I am at this point, thinking that something may happen.
Hey, as much as I love you, I wish you would hang up on us because at least I know that something's happening.
Yeah,
Just like you probably want to.
Well, see, now John's got an excuse if he's tired of talking to us. I got to go, guys. Got a text message.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I was telling somebody yesterday. I said I was on the road driving back from out of town, and I was out in the yard doing yard work, shoveling rocks and dirt for about 5 hours yesterday afternoon. That tells you what I was thinking was going to happen yesterday, and it wasn't much other than me sweating and needing a shower. So, but today's a little bit different.
Hey, John, let's focus on Schnall real quick from the Schnall side of it. From what you're hearing, that you can tell us, if Schnall does get offered the job after we've gotten past the nitty-gritty, what your contacts have told you about him taking it, him wanting to go back to Coastal, because this seems to be a conversation that's going in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, assuming everything's right with the numbers, and I'm not just talking about his salary, but the whole 9 yards, the NIL, the recruiting budget, the coaching staff budget, the support staff budget. Assuming all of that lines up, then he'll take the job. You know, he loves Coastal Carolina and wouldn't hesitate going back there if it didn't end up being the right situation with the Gamecocks. But I think that if he gets offered the job, it's going to be the right situation for Schnall and the Gamecocks both. And I don't anticipate him turning it down. But, you know, if it's not right, or if South Carolina decides to go in a different direction, Kevin Schnall is not going to be upset about going back to Coastal Carolina. So I feel confident that you know, if he gets offered, that he and South Carolina will make it work.
And on that line, John, I hope this doesn't put you on the spot. I don't think it does. Informed opinion here is, I guess, what I'm looking for. What might that be that would be the negative? What would bump up, you know, in terms of a number, an issue where you might think, from your point of view, that Kevin would say, I'll just stay in Conway.
Yeah, you know, I don't have a number on that one really to give you. You know, I think that both sides pretty much know where each other needs to be. That's part of the process that happens when you know, the coaches are going through the administration is going through the vetting process, when they're talking to agents and getting the background they need. So I'm fairly confident that both sides, assuming that South Carolina wants to offer Kevin, that they'll be able to come together pretty easily.
And in about 30 seconds, if Jeremiah got word tonight after North Carolina's game with Southern California, like, hey, Scott wants to talk to you as soon as possible, do you hit pause? Or if you know it's Kevin, thanks, Scott, we appreciate you, good luck to you?
I think that South Carolina right now has enough information to know where Scott Forbes stands.
Okay.
I think that if Scott Forbes says he wants to be South Carolina's next coach, I don't think that South Carolina is going to need to do much more with him than what they've already done. So, you know, if Scott Forbes calls and says, I want the job, then at that point South Carolina's got a real decision to make on which way to go. And
John Whittle of Gamecock 24/7 joining Terry and me earlier today. We appreciate John's time. Terrific detail in there on exactly how this is all going down. So once again, still definitely Kevin Schnall, the leader in the clubhouse, but it was interesting to learn that Scott Forbes entered the chat earlier in the week and may still be part of it. We shall see. All right. We'll get you caught up on what's going on at the Supers. No SEC team has played yet, but a bunch of them will. And we've got some basketball news. The drive around the SEC next. Love telling you about our great friends at the British Bulldog Pub. I've known Mark, Rob, the whole crew out at the Bulldog for years and years and years, going way back to like the 2010 World Cup, like way back. How long I've known those guys. I love the food, love the atmosphere, no matter what games are on, whether you're watching European football, American football, any other big sporting events, they've got them on out there all the time. And I'm telling you, the menu is absolutely fantastic. You may think English food. I don't know. Let me tell you. First off, I'll say it again. I can eat my weight in sausage rolls. I love the chicken, bacon, and leek pasty. Their fish and chips, hand-breaded, there in the store, hand-cut fries or chips. And they are absolutely amazing. And all your American favorites, great burgers, dogs, wings, all kinds of great stuff. And a beer selection second to none. Bower Parkway in Harbison. Go check them out. Tell them we sent you and enjoy a great night at the British Bulldog Pub.
Oh, interesting afternoon on the roads. Again, no accidents. That's a good thing. We do have a disabled vehicle, I-20 eastbound at Spears Creek Church Road. It's exit 82. Again, I-20 eastbound, a little bit outside of town there at Spears Creek Church Road. There is a disabled vehicle, so get prepared for that if you're heading that direction. I-26 eastbound, this has been slow all day between Lake Murray Boulevard, exit 102, and the I-20 exit. That's 107B off of I-26. Again, slow going. Just give you a heads up. Maybe you can navigate around that and get to it as it starts to pick up a little bit. We'll come back in here, get drive around the SEC here on the Postgame Show.
It is Drive Around the SEC time on this Friday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. We'll get you updated on what's going on around the entire NCAA tournament, baseball tournament, that is, of course. By the way, speaking of the SEC, congratulations to Texas. They sweep Texas Tech to win the women's College World Series.
2 years in a row, man, you got Texas Tech.
Yeah, and this year it took on a little extra something because right now those two schools are beefing.
Yeah, they are.
No pun intended for being out in Texas, but they
are beefing.
They already don't like each other.
Well, you know what?
And then this happens, and they got the football thing going on where Joey McGuire basically said that Texas was scared to play Texas Tech in football.
Right, you gonna talk, run your mouth, put your money where.
Yeah,
let's go
and
there,
knowing full well that when you try to say, "Well, we'll play you this year, wherever you want," you can't. That's not how it works.
That's one of those. Look, first of all, do I give Joey McGuire and Texas Tech credit for kind of calling Sark on his stuff?
Sure.
But I'll say this: you know what that's like? It's like you got a couple of your buddies holding you back. Right. Well, if they let me go, if they let me go, pal, guys, don't let me go. No. If they let me go, and that's kind of what it is. It's like, it can't happen, but it sounds good that you decide you want to step up and say whatever, but we know it can't happen. Yeah. And it can't happen.
By the way, I kind of thought and I know this is an SEC thing, I thought we might get a little bit more on the Sorsby case today.
No, I don't know. We did not get anything.
We didn't.
No. One thing on that Texas Tech thing before you move on.
Okay.
The interesting part of this, too, is, Texas and Oklahoma have been a thing forever. Texas and Texas A&M, even though that's more A&M than Texas, it's still a thing.
Oh, that's a thing.
It's a thing. It's more of A&M. A&M aches to be Texas.
Yeah. But
it's a thing.
But that's a thing.
It really is a thing.
No, it's a thing.
Texas has always laughed at Texas Tech. Can we just
so does A&M.
Here? Right. Everyone's laughed at Texas Tech. Now, they're that guy who never had money and then hit the lottery.
Right.
And they don't know how to act. They're pumping their chest. They're buying pet llamas. They don't know what the hell's up, right, Jay? And they're just dropping. They think they've got it going on now. They've never had money, and now they're that guy.
I want to see Cody Campbell show up with a llama.
Wouldn't that be so good? Why'd you buy that?
That would be
awesome.
Got
the money.
That would be awesome.
I got the money, man.
That would be great.
But that's Texas Tech. They're the guy that never had money, and now they got dough, and they want to go at it, right?
That would be yes. That's fair.
So Texas is like, stop, seriously, you're Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And Texas Tech's like, oh no, we got cash now, pal.
And they're not. They do. They do. They do.
But they aren't handling it well.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No.
Some of the ways they kind of gone about
That's
this.
funny. I'm just thinking now that they're buying llamas.
Everybody gets a llama.
That's good. All right, drive around the SEC time. We'll start with baseball. Again, 7 teams in the Super Regionals. None have played yet. We'll have a couple later on tonight. And again, the SEC is guaranteed to have 2 representatives in Omaha next week. How, you ask? Can I know that? Well, it's because you got 2 Super Regionals that feature SEC versus SEC. So today, Cal Poly and West Virginia, just to give you a quick rundown of the entire Super Regional round, West Virginia beat Cal Poly 12-2 in Game 1. Right now, North Carolina, who had a big lead, 5-1 in the 6th inning over Southern California in Chapel Hill, is now down 9-5. The North Carolina bullpen is really letting the Heels down from the 6th inning on, and Southern Cal has blown it open and had a grand slam included in that, but they are up 9-5, still have a runner on with 2 outs, do the Trojans in the top of the 7th. So still a chance for the Heels to come back. Game 3 has just started, Little Rock and Troy, and Little Rock scoring in the top of the 1st. It is now in the bottom of the 2nd, Little Rock 1-0. Both those teams are Trojans, by the way. So the Little Rock Trojans over the Troy Trojans. And then tonight, the first SEC action, Mississippi, will be at Auburn. So there's, again, one of those guaranteed participants in Omaha. Tomorrow, and again, everybody plays tomorrow. All 8 Super Regionals will be having games tomorrow, but the 4 that didn't start today, that start tomorrow, are Mississippi State at Georgia, another guaranteed participant. Then Oklahoma at Kansas, Oregon at Texas, and St. John's at Alabama. So all of these Saturday, Sunday, and potential Monday Super Regionals feature at least one team from the Southeastern Conference. So there you go. That's what's happening in baseball over the weekend. The SEC, ACC, and ESPN have announced this coming season's SEC, ACC basketball challenges. We'll start with men's basketball and Lamont Paris's Gamecocks. They will be traveling to Raleigh on Tuesday, December the 1st, to take on NC State. The other games, pay attention. There will be a quiz. Arkansas at North Carolina, Auburn at Clemson, Duke at Florida, BC at Georgia, Wake at LSU, Pitt at Missouri, Syracuse at Oklahoma, Mississippi at Virginia Tech, FSU at Tennessee, Texas at Louisville, Alabama at Miami, Kentucky at Virginia, Georgia Tech at Mississippi State, Stanford at A&M, Vanderbilt at Notre Dame. There you go. So let's see, California, and I can't quite tell who else didn't get a game, Terry. I got to go back and just try to
I got to look.
Yeah, Syracuse Syracuse is in there. Somebody else
let's
didn't
say
get a game.
Cal.
Well, maybe it's just Cal.
Maybe. Well, it's how many teams are in the ACC?
I don't even know, man, because
I've
Notre
lost
Dame
track.
counts in football and basketball. I don't know. I guess it looks like
lost
just
track.
California maybe that didn't.
Maybe Cal just doesn't, maybe Cal's the only one.
Or we're forgetting somebody else.
Probably.
Because I see Duke, I see Wake, I see State, I see North Carolina. Clemson's in there. Yeah.
Pitt's in there.
Pitt's in there. Anyway, there you go. South Carolina at
SMU.
SMU, thank you. There it is. Nice work, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you win.
Blind squirrel.
Well, there you go. Now, if you can get all the other ones that I said, like I said, there will be a quiz. And on the women's side of things, Dawn Staley's Gamecocks will take on Duke in Durham. That will be on Thursday, December the 3rd. Yeah, absolutely. They played each other a few times. Carolina is 10-2 against Duke in the all-time series.
Carol Lawson's done some work.
She has, man. They were
really
good
has,
last
dude.
year.
Yes.
9-1 under Coach Staley are the Gamecocks against the Blue Devils. The women's challenge, again, there's a quiz. LSU at North Carolina. That could be good.
Yeah.
Louisville at Texas. Miami at Florida. They don't like each other. Georgia at SMU. NC State at Mississippi. Stanford at Auburn. Carolina at Duke. Notre Dame at Vandy. That'll be a good game. Tennessee at Virginia Tech. Clemson at Kentucky. Oklahoma at Syracuse. Wake at Arkansas. Missouri at FSU. A&M at Cal. Georgia Tech at Alabama. Virginia at Mississippi State.
That Louisville game.
Louisville at Texas.
That could be
Yeah.
fun.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Louisville's good. Yeah,
Louisville's
that's a good one. That's a good one. The women's games will be Wednesday, the 2nd and 3rd. Again, Carolina at Duke will be on the 3rd. The men's games will be on the 1st and 2nd. And once again, South Carolina at NC State on Tuesday, December the 1st. Times for these games will be announced at a later date. But I'm going to go out on a limb, Terry Ford, and tell you that the Duke at Florida game is going to be at night.
You think?
I do.
Okay.
And I think the Arkansas at North Carolina game will probably be before it.
Could be a nice, juicy
I got a hunch that Duke Florida game, even if it's in Gainesville, is going to be a 9 p.m. Eastern tip.
Which would make sense.
You with me on that?
I'm with you on that.
With
100%,
Arkansas
sir.
at North Carolina, my guess here, the 7 o'clock tip.
That'd be the 7 o'clock going into the Duke Florida game.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a fine night of basketball.
Yeah. But I could see FSU at Tennessee. That's got something to it. Ole Miss at Virginia Tech, maybe.
Maybe.
Pitt at Missouri, I don't know. Texas at Louisville, that's all right. Auburn at
Possibly.
Clemson.
The Texas Louisville game has a possibility.
Auburn
to
at
be fun.
Clemson, the Cliff Ellis Bowl. I remember when Cliff got to Auburn and Auburn changed to an orange uniform, and I was like, look at that. Auburn's got a Clemson uniform. That's the drive around the SEC on this Friday.
Oh, hold on before you go.
Oh, you got another one?
No, I got something here. We got to get in this.
Okay.
All right. I have promised our promotions director, Jeannie, that we were giving away 3 pair of tickets for Post Malone.
Get
The
out.
Big Ass Stadium Tour Part 2 or whatever in Charlotte.
Can you say that on the radio?
I just did 'cause it's Post Malone.
Okay.
Post Malone said that. June 9th.
Wow.
We're giving away 3 pair coming up between now and 6.
Oh, so not
We'll
yet.
let you know, not yet.
Oh.
You prepared.
Oh.
And I told her that Jay Phillips would remind me. So if we don't give them away, I've set you up to get run over by the Genie bus.
I don't need that.
Nobody needs that. Genie's intimidating.
Yeah, and I'm not always good at remembering those things, as you might recall.
Remember what?
Huh?
Huh?
Who?
That's coming up.
11 minutes in front of 6 o'clock here on this Friday. Jay and Terry with you. All right, and in mere moments, I'm not sure exactly when. It's not up to me. Terry is going to let you know how you can win tickets to see.
Just do it now. What the hell?
All right, what do they need to do?
Just text to win, 803-404-6100. Text to win, just text Post Malone.
Post Malone.
P-O-S-T M-A-L-O-N-E. Post Malone.
To 803.
803-404-6100. We'll be giving away 3 pair of tickets.
So first three that
get in. Text it in.
Snap it in there, man.
June 9th in Charlotte.
I was just at that ballpark.
That's right, you were for the soccer.
Yeah, it was fun.
Post Malone there?
I didn't see him. He's rather instantly recognizable.
He's easy to blend right in, though.
No.
Post Malone just blends right in, man.
Sure.
Can't tell the difference.
Sure. Have fun.
Post Malone, Karl Malone.
That's just in a couple days, man.
Mm-hmm.
Have fun. It's a good stadium. It's a good stadium. It's not. It's a good stadium.
It's solid, right?
Yeah,
it's solid.
Before we do Jay versus the internet, I have a real life Cousin Eddie story for you.
Oh, hit it! Let's do it.
This happened in Montrose, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently at a rather large truck and RV stop out in Montrose, which I'm not sure. I know you were just out there, so be careful here. And I hope you don't need any diesel fuel. Apparently, someone in an RV. This place it's good for travelers. They have a free RV dump station on site.
Okay,
they're just helping you out, right? Come get some gas and some snacks.
Uh-huh.
And I can't use the quote from Christmas Vacation, but when when it's full, right?
Uh-huh.
Only problem is somebody that was using the free RV dump station somehow got it mixed up with the truck stop's diesel fuel supply.
Oops.
And the diesel fuel tank, by the way, which is rather large at this truck stop, as you might imagine, had just been topped off.
Oops.
And somebody emptied the you-know-water right into it, man.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It says, I talked to the cashier. This is a customer. They have a dedicated dump at the larger pumps, but I guess someone decided to undo the manhole and dump there. They dumped into the large manhole covers near the road directly into the diesel tank.
Wow.
So, kids, when you're unloading the you-know-water, just don't put it in the fuel supply.
That's not a great combination either. Yeah. That's just not good. So, that's not good.
Apparently, it was not Cousin Eddie. All right, what you got?
All right. Dave, do me a favor, Dave. Go up. No, you got the hit that. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Go right there. Go over. Hit that. I got my assistant in here, Dave. There.
He's new.
New guy.
Dave printed me something today.
Well, he never does that.
No, he printed me something. It was great.
Did he? Was it good? Were you
it was great.
Happy about this for a change?
Yeah, it was great. I appreciate it. I told Dave in person that I was glad he printed it for me.
Wow, we got to mark this day down. June 5th, 2026. You actually appreciated Dave printing something now for you.
It's great.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Jay or nay, tonight, game 2, Knicks in San Antonio.
Wait, this isn't Jay or nay. I thought we were doing spreads.
Yeah, that's right. I lose track.
Nay.
Yeah, nay.
I don't even know the question.
No, nay on Jay or nay.
Sure, there you go. Yeah,
all right, here we go. Knicks, they are 6.5-point underdogs in San Antonio tonight. Knicks are up 1-0. The game is in, obviously, San Antonio.
Man, Terry, Knicks plus 6.5. Give it to me.
You take the Knicks?
I just there's something going on, man.
I think San Antonio wins.
I do.
The Spurs, but the Knicks cover.
Give me the 6.5. Give me the 6.5.
I'll take the Spurs to win, Knicks to cover.
Until you know what? Until the Knicks lose right now, seriously, there's something going on.
Look,
I'm not kidding.
When I said to you when I decided before the series to switch to the Knicks, one thing was the experience.
Yeah.
But two was nobody believes in the Knicks more than the Knicks right now.
No, give me this. Give me that 6.5.
Listen to the quotes from these cats, man.
Yeah.
They think, honest to God, they're the Golden State Warriors and the Chicago Bulls love child.
Sure.
And they're playing
Wouldn't that
like
be something? Well, they've won 12 in a row in the playoffs,
yes,
man.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, I don't care who you're playing. That's not easy. 12 in
the playoffs is a thing.
That's not easy.
All right, throw you one more Jay or nay tonight. Ole Miss and number 4 Auburn. Supers in Auburn. Where are you going?
Auburn.
Taking Auburn?
Auburn.
Okay. Does Auburn win the series too?
Yeah, Auburn's going. I picked before. You might remember. I picked Auburn to go to the World Series.
They were one of your SEC teams. I think Auburn wins this Super too.
Yeah.
I think they win tonight.
Now, I picked 3 to go to the World Series, and Auburn, Texas, and Georgia.
Still alive too.
Yeah.
By the way, I'll give you one here. West Virginia or Cal Poly today? Who are you taking?
That's a tough one. I like Cal Poly's mojo, but I'm going to take West Virginia to win today.
How about Cal Poly and 11 runs?
I'll take West Virginia over 11. How's that?
All right, man.
Over 11 and a half even.
Nice work, my friend.
Good stuff. Have a great weekend.
Right,
you safe travels, man.
Thank you, sir.
And don't go to that. Don't go to that place.
I'm gonna stay away from that place.
Yeah, because you'll be driving a big truck.
I don't need another Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, I don't need
episode.
that. Don't need that.
Have a good one. See ya.